Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. The villain starts from dual cultivation with the protagonist master. Chapter 81. Senior brother, please stop making fun of me. Luo Li's cheeks turned red, and he lowered his head and did not dare to look directly at Lu Chuan. Her voice was particularly soft when she spoke, and her tender hands began to rub the corners of her clothes unconsciously. Her body trembled slightly and her heartbeat accelerated. If senior brother said this, I would take it seriously. Luo Li thought. She knew that senior brother Lu Chuan was trying to comfort her. How could anyone like old-fashioned white hair? Wanting to change the topic, Luo Li asked, Senior brother Lu Chuan, does he know where we are now? After hearing the sound of the system, Lu Chuan kept his eyes on Luo Li. Luo Li was already petite and extremely delicate, with pure white hair like snow and a slender and soft voice. The shy movements of a little girl. Even now, Luo Li lowered his head, but his clear eyes were peeking at him. There was tenderness in his eyes, which made people feel pity and protection. Staring at Luo Li's fair, smooth and slightly rosy face, Lu Chuan swallowed. I couldn't help but think in my heart, junior brother Luo Li seems a little cute. Senior brother. Luo Li was itching in his heart as his sweetheart stared at him, and said coquettishly, Senior brother, don't keep staring at me. Sorry, I was rude. Business is important. Let me talk to you. Lu Chuan apologized with a smile. Then, Lu Chuan told Luo Li the fact that they were at the dragon race ruins deep in the central mountains. Senior brother is saying that after I activated the teleportation circle, I didn't select a destination and accidentally teleported everyone here, right? Before his body fully recovered, Luo Li pursed his lips that lost color, frowned, and clenched his fists. The dragon race ruins are full of unknown dangers and difficulties. Even when she just woke up, she could feel the ominous atmosphere outside the cave. Surviving in this dragon race ruins is easier said than done. It would have been better if I had channeled more spiritual energy. At least select the transmission range. Luo Li was blaming himself. You've done enough, don't think too much. Lu Chuan could feel the remorse in Luo Li's heart and reached out to touch Luo Li's head. Luo Li is amazing. Without you, everyone would have died outside. You saved everyone. Don't blame yourself. You have no obligation to do this. Everyone should be grateful to you. Being able to be teleported to the dragon race ruins, Lu Chuan knew that it was Luo Li who did it, but what he didn't know was that Luo Li consumed most of his blood essence and damaged 3/4 of Yuanshou before activating the formation. Luo Li's hair turned white. Lu Chuan only thought that Luo Li had consumed too much spiritual energy, but he didn't expect that she would make such a sacrifice. Of course, even if asked about this, Luo Li would not tell the truth. Feeling senior brother Lu Chuan's broad hand caressing his head, Luo Li felt as if a spring breeze was blowing through his heart. As expected of my favorite junior brother, you are everyone's hero and the pride of Immortal Gate. Luo Li's eyes were red, but there was a smile on her lips. A few words of sincere praise from senior brother Lu Chuan made her feel that everything she had done was not in vain. At that time, I just thought that my senior brother would be okay. I was not everyone's hero. The rest of the people combined were not as important as my senior brother. I just wanted to be my senior brother's hero. The girl's heart was full of spring, her emotions surged, and she could not restrain herself. She couldn't help but rush forward and rest her head on Lu Chuan's chest. Lu Chuan was stunned at first and felt his clothes were wet with tears. Finally, he did not stop the movement of his hands and continued to touch Luo Li's head and said some words of encouragement to Luo Li. If Luo Li becomes depressed and unwilling to practice hard anymore, how can he take away opportunities from him in the future? The condition for the system to trigger the task is that Luo Li appears near the opportunity. Luo Li cried enough. She was afraid that something would happen to Lu Chuan. The fear and worry accumulated in her heart were released at this moment. He touched senior brother Lu Chuan's chest with his hand, and heard the steady heartbeat of senior brother Lu Chuan in his ears. The senior brother really didn't realize that he was a woman, otherwise his heartbeat would not be so steady. Luo Li thought. Senior brother, actually I have a secret that I'm hiding from everyone. Do you want to know, senior brother? Being in the dragon race ruins, there is no need to worry about the walls having ears, so it is a good time to tell the senior brother about his daughter's identity. But if I tell my senior brother the truth, will he still be so close to me? Senior brother is so smart, and based on his daily behavior, he will definitely guess that he has a crush on him. After all, Lu Chuan is his master's Taoist companion, will he alienate himself? Thinking of this, Luo Li started to get scared. What secret? Lu Chuan looked at the cute junior brother in his arms and asked. Time goes back to 2 days ago, when the teleportation formation was just activated. After receiving the notice from Shu Murong, each righteous path sent personnel to support the Luoyan sect after activating the sect-protecting formation and leaving behind enough combat power to protect themselves from the evil cultivator's surprise attack. Elder Wang Song knew that the situation was urgent, and after explaining the matter, he also rushed to Luoyan sect. The Luoyan sect was also a sect established in ancient times. Unfortunately, because its reputation has not spread, it has little popularity and lacks newcomers. Its current strength can only be ranked at the bottom of the righteous path. The whole sect only has 3,000 to 4,000 people, but the evil cultivator that attacked has tens of thousands. Evil cultivator has a large number of people. Even if his cultivation is low, he can still besiege a disciple of the Luoyan sect with a few people. The Luoyan sect suffers heavy casualties and is in a state of decline. After support arrived, the situation was reversed, and evil cultivator was defeated steadily. Wang Song met Shu Murong with a serious face in Luoyan sect and said, Senior Sister Shu. Let's go to Zongmin Peak. Don't throw away the handle of the broken sword. Shu Murong nodded, and the two of them quickly flew towards the Luoyan sect headmaster peak. Headmaster Zhou, what's wrong with you? Wang Song saw the headmaster of the Luoyan sect lying on the ground covered in blood and missing his left and right arms. He quickly helped him up, fed him the 6th grade recovery elixir, and then asked worriedly. Leave me alone. Go to the treasure house. Body integration phase evil cultivator, be careful. Zhou Li relied on his obsession to stay alive. In fact, he was already at the end of his life. After saying these words, he left Hexi. In the body integration stage, the monks who can reach this level in the eastern domain have all gone to Zhongzhou where spiritual energy is more abundant. The top combat power of each righteous path is in the void refining stage, and so is Zhou Li. Being attacked by the evil cultivator who was a huge level above, Zhou Li had no power to resist. After having his arms and legs removed, the key to the treasure house and the master's seal were also taken away. In the Luoyan sect's treasure house, an old man with a white beard and kind eyes was walking inside. All around were high-grade spirit treasures, extremely rare techniques, and supreme-grade elixirs, but he seemed not to notice them. The old man walked straight to the corner of the treasure house, where rare spirit stones were piled into a hill. Isn't it true that there are 300 taels of silver in this place? The old man snorted coldly. Pulling aside the spirit stone, there is a wooden box hidden in the center of the spirit stone. Although it is made of wood, its toughness is comparable to the 9th grade defense spirit treasure. There is a gap on it, which corresponds to the leader's seal. Put the leader's seal on it, and the wooden box will open automatically. What is inside is a sword hilt that has lost its blade. It exudes infinite majesty even if it is not complete. Disciples below the gold core level will definitely be overwhelmed when they see this thing. Fainted from the pressure. This is the main body of the key to sealing the disaster. The old man with a kind face raised the corners of his mouth, revealing a sinister smile that made people shudder. At this moment, Shu Murong's voice came, put down what you are holding. Void refining late stages. Wang Song and Shu Murong drove the spirit sword at the same time, aiming at the old man's head. The flying swords of the two men rose into the air, like a bolt of lightning, aiming in the direction of the evil cultivator. Just when the flying sword was about to contact the evil cultivator, a sly smile appeared in the old man's eyes, and then terrifying power erupted from around the old man, and the space was actually torn apart, leaving a white hole. The two people's spiritual swords immediately dissipated. Space Tao. Wang Song couldn't help shouting. Time and space methods are the two most profound and difficult to cultivate in the world of cultivation. The old man in front of them can actually use space methods without any preparation. Wang Song and Shu Murong were extremely surprised. Void Taoist. Shu Murong recognized the old man's identity and took out his spiritual sword and prepared to attack. Ho ho ho, everyone here knows me. Void Taoist responded with a smile. I have disappeared for thousands of years. I didn't expect that my friends from the righteous way can still remember me. How could I forget that it was you who instigated the relationship between Zhengdao and Demon Dao? Now do you want to release disaster and destroy the entire world of cultivation? Recalling the past, Shu Marong gritted his teeth, frowned, and urged the spirit sword in his hand, ready to take action. How can you say provoking? I just told Demon Dao the facts. It was not my intention to cause disaster. I just wanted to give my disciples and future generations a good living condition. Wang Song said at this time, disaster doesn't care that much. It will only destroy everything in front of you. If you release it, you will die. Unexpectedly, the smile on the old man's face became even brighter at this time. You don't need to worry about it. Let's stop chatting here. Anyway, we have obtained the main body of the key. I will leave today. Don't even think about it. I want to run away. Watch me slash with thunder and wind. Wang Song also rushed towards the old man with his sword. Haha, see you later. Void Taoist left these words, the figure disappeared directly, and the next second, he returned to the northern territory. This is a space method. When the spiritual energy is abundant, you can directly transmit the places you have visited. He didn't spend much spiritual energy on the Void Refining Realm leader of the Luoyan sect in a sneak attack. Sitting on a very ordinary wooden chair, Void Taoist played with the hilt of his sword. With a charitable face and a kind smile, it was completely impossible to tell that he was the top evil cultivator in the body integration period. He murmured, okay, all that's left is to complete the key and find all the sword blades scattered everywhere. Wang Song and Shu Marong were left in the Luoyan sect's treasure house. Wang Song frowned anxiously, his eyes fixed on the place where Void Taoist disappeared. Beads of sweat broke out on his forehead, and he said in a deep voice, it's another space method. I'm afraid Void Taoist is already thousands of miles away now. Shu Marong's lips trembled slightly, and his eyes inevitably showed a look of helplessness and confusion, as if he was lost in a strange environment and didn't know how to deal with it. Ever since she became the leader of Spirit Sword Sect, she has never encountered such a serious thing. The key to sealing the disaster was stolen, the Luoyan sect almost fell, and his disciples were trapped in the central mountain range. Shu Marong's life can be described as smooth. When he was young, he was very successful and was recognized by the powerful Spirit Sword Sect. After that, he rose through the ranks and became the leader step by step. What would Zhang Junhai do if he were here? She couldn't help but think in her heart. When Shu Marong was in such an extreme crisis and at a loss, he would still think of his former Taoist companion. After a while, Shu Marong regained his composure and said to Wang Song, Junior brother Wang, we are going to get rid of the evil cultivator of Luoyan sect. I have already sent people to the central mountain range. Wang Song nodded when he heard this, immediately locked the treasure house, and went out to kill the enemy with Shu Marong. Outside the central mountain range, the righteous elders who came to rescue couldn't believe their eyes. A month ago, this place was still full of vitality, with forests stretching for thousands of miles. Now countless thick trees have collapsed to the ground, and the land is riddled with holes. The bombed forest was lifeless, leaving only silence and desolation. Smoke and dust filled the air, and the vegetation withered. Can any disciples survive an explosion of this scope? They haven't even reached the gold core stage yet. Nangong Shi frowned and reprimanded, shut your crow's mouth. Instead of just sighing here, it's better to act quickly. Save everyone if you can. This is the order of Master Shu of the Spirit Sword Sect. He was sent to rescue by Wang Song. Although he was a bit frivolous, Nangong Zai's business ability was recognized as first class. Moreover, his direct disciple Sima Dong is also in the mountains and will definitely go all out. Everyone began to search separately in the forest. After searching for a day and a night, they only found the corpses of various spirit beasts, not even a hair of a disciple. Going deep into the mountains, everyone discovered that the towering peak that originally existed in the center had disappeared. Instead, there was an entire underground palace, the gate of which was tightly sealed, covering an area of hundreds of square kilometers. The walls of the palace are made of rare jade inlaid with fine dragon carvings, and the towering stone pillars at the gate are carved with lifelike dragons. There is a giant dragon statue in the open space of the palace, with its bright eyes, as if watching the visitors. The soul reveals a majestic and mysterious atmosphere, which is awe-inspiring. There is a grotto heaven beneath the palace, which cannot be penetrated by spiritual senses. It turns out that the dragon race ruins really exist. An elder exclaimed. Since the disciples who participated in the picking festival are nowhere to be seen in the central mountain range, they probably teleported into the ruins. Nangong Shi guessed. Now there is trouble, the ruins are activated, indicating that there is a legacy of dragon race inside. There are only two situations when the elders want to enter the ruins. The good situation is that the inheritance is taken away by the disciples, the bad situation is that all the disciples teleported to the ruins die. Nangong Shi was a little anxious, but didn't know what to do, so he informed Wang Song of the situation here. Time returns to the present. The elders of each righteous path were waiting outside the ruins, while Lu Chuan and Luo Li stayed alone in the cave. Hearing Luo Li say that there was a secret that no one knew about, Lu Chuan subconsciously asked what the secret was. Luo Li was scared at this time. I am afraid that after my daughter tells Lu Chuan, the relationship between the two will change. The relationship may get better, but it is also possible that senior brother Lu Chuan will alienate herself. Thinking about the days without senior brother Lu Chuan around him, the words Luo Li wanted to say were stuck in his throat. Her delicate body trembled slightly, her delicate face was filled with tension and uneasiness, and her eyes were wandering. Only a slight trembling sound escaped from her mouth. Brother, I. Lu Chuan and Luo Li have been together for so long, so he naturally knows that Luo Li is afraid. Luo Li's hands were still on his body, and he exerted force with his slender, white hands. Although it didn't hurt, the nails were almost embedded in his body. He could feel Luo Li's weak shaking, and could see her erratic eyes, as fragile as a butterfly, but trying to pretend to be strong and say something. Lu Chuan couldn't help but want to give Luo Li a hug. Luo Li was originally in Lu Chuan's arms, but now Lu Chuan reached out and put her into his arms, giving her warmth and comfort. He slowly said, "It's okay if you don't tell me. Everyone will have one or two unknown secrets." Lu Chuan, who has lived 2 lives, naturally knows that people are strange. Obviously some things are called secrets, but you still feel that secrets that only you know will become regrets. Tell me again when you don't want to leave any regrets. Lu Chuan said in as gentle a voice as possible. Luo Li was hugged and was a little overwhelmed for a moment, but after hearing senior brother Lu Chuan's words, the stone hanging in his heart finally fell. Senior brother is still so gentle. There were tears in Luo Li's eyes, but his voice was full of joy. The secret I want to tell senior brother is that I have someone I like. He was right in front of him. Lu Chuan was not surprised by this and said calmly, I know. Previously, as long as he and Lin Qingshe were together and Luo Li saw the two of them acting intimately, the system would remind him that Luo Li was abnormal and would give points to the villain. Lu Chuan had already guessed this. During the process of getting along with Lin Qingshe, Luo Li had different feelings for his master, which is consistent with the original work. Senior brother, why do you say you know? Why don't you specifically ask me who I like? Luo Li murmured as he put his forehead against Lu Chuan's chest. No need to ask any more, you will tell me when you want to. Luo Li was hugged, and the distance between the two was close to nothing. She could feel senior brother Lu Chuan's body temperature and smell his unique fragrance. Her heart was beating fast, her face was red, and she was dripping with embarrassment. Then I have a question to ask senior brother. The person I like has a very special relationship with me, and I only have a one-sided admiration for him. Senior brother, do you think we can make it work? When Lu Chuan heard this, his guess became more certain. The relationship was special, and the master-disciple relationship was special enough. He also said that it was one-sided. Luo Li knew that Qingshe and he were Taoist companions. Why did he want to, so you ask? Thinking about asking Lin Qingshe and Luo Li to maintain a healthy distance from each other in the future, Lu Chuan said seriously, since it is one-sided and the relationship is special, I advise you to bury this feeling deep in your heart to avoid getting hurt. Seeing that Lu Chuan rarely spoke to him in an older man's tone, Luo Li knew that his senior brother was serious and he really thought so. Luo Li became excited for a moment. She grabbed Lu Chuan's wrist with her hand, raised her head and stared at Lu Chuan and said, I will not give up. Just like what my senior brother said just now, I will not leave any regrets. When I finish the matter in Sha Kingdom and kill the gold core evil cultivator, I will tell my senior brother the real secret, and I will make him fall in love with me. Being held by Luo Li's delicate hands, staring at her with serious and passionate eyes, her soft and pleasant face was so close. If you smell it carefully, you can smell a soft and warm fragrance from Luo Li's body, and Lin Qingshe smells very similar. Lu Chuan actually felt a little hot in his heart, his throat was dry, and he couldn't speak. He wanted to look away but couldn't. The two looked at each other in silence. Luo Li felt itchy in his heart and really wanted to taste what senior brother Lu Chuan's lips tasted like. Her body has not yet recovered and her ability to control herself has declined significantly. Luo Li stood on tiptoes, and their faces got closer and closer. Gu. There was originally only the crackling sound of the bonfire burning in the cave, but suddenly there was a strange sound. The source of the sound was Luo Li's belly. There are unique survival rules in the dragon race ruins. The sun and moon are reversed, the seasons are chaotic, and any cultivator will feel hungry and cold. This is why Lu Chuan lit a fire in the cave, which can provide light and maintain the temperature in the cave. Ah! Luo Li knew what happened, blushed and screamed, then let go of Lu Chuan's wrist, trying to escape from Lu Chuan's sight. She had no strength to begin with, and suddenly she lost her support and fell straight back. PFF'd, be careful. Lu Chuan couldn't help laughing and quickly helped Luo Li lie down. What's the matter? I also ate a lot during the 2 days you were unconscious. What do you want to eat? There are many spirit beasts in the ruins. I'll catch them for you. I'm not hungry. Luo Li was still stubborn. On the one hand, he didn't want to admit that he was hungry. On the other hand, he knew that there was danger outside and didn't want his senior brother to go out and take risks for him. You're still not hungry after all this. Master and disciple are just like each other. They both have a strong temper. Just lie down here and I'll come back. Senior brother. Luo Li wanted to stand up and hold Lu Chuan, but his body felt empty and he couldn't stand up at all. Eat something and recover. If something happens to you, Qingshe won't let me go. Luo Li looked at Lu Chuan's leaving figure and shouted as loud as he could, come back soon. Do you all call Master, Qingshe? Luo Li thought. She was inevitably a little disappointed, but then she thought about it. Master is still in Shengle City, and I am the one staying with senior brother Lu Chuan now, and senior brother also went out to hunt for himself. The loss was swept away, and while I was a little happy, I was also a little scared. Master knows that senior brother Lu Chuan is so close to him, so he won't be angry, right? At this time, in Shengle City, Lin Qingshe, who was unaware of the evil cultivator's invasion of Zhengdao and the bombing of the Central Mountains, was watching a drama with Lu Qiancho. They met because of Lu Chuan, but hit it off immediately and got along very well, and now they are like sisters. The plot of the drama is very bloody. It is probably a story about a beautiful master and apprentice who fall in love with the same man at the same time. In the end, they fight to the death and the friendship between master and apprentice is broken. Lin Qingshe couldn't help frowning as he looked at it, combined with some realistic factors. Although his apprentice Luo Li is a man, he has a handsome appearance and a delicate temperament. It is said that she has never had a good relationship with a woman. The only person he is familiar with in the Immortal Gate is Lu Chuan. Maybe he is as good as Long Yang, and his body is as a master. I cannot directly deny my apprentice's orientation. She secretly thought in her heart that it would be better to remind Lu Chuan and Luo Li to keep a normal distance when they go back. Outside the cave, it was freezing and freezing. The dragon race inheritance is in the center of the ruins. The main body of the ruins is a maze. The maze is surrounded by a large forest. It has been affected by the dragon race aura for many years. The spirit beasts living in the forest all have the dragon race aura to some extent. In the past 2 days, Lu Chuan had redeemed food directly from the system store. Anyway, it was only 1 point, which was easy. This was his first time out of the cave. 2 days ago, it was still summer here. Stepping on the snow-covered grass, Lu Chuan released his spiritual consciousness, but withdrew it in an instant. Upon casual inspection, there was a snow leopard-shaped spirit beast in the middle stage of soul formation nearby. It sensed an abnormal aura and was rushing towards Lu Chuan at full speed. The snow leopard of soul formation stage. Lu Chuan suppressed his aura and sprinted through the forest at full speed, waiting for half an hour before getting rid of the snow leopard. By chance, there were 2 snowshoe rabbits coming out to graze deep in the forest. Lu Chuan's spiritual energy turned into a sword and gave them a happy surprise. Return to the cave with the 2 rabbits. Eating rabbits today. Lu Chuan raised 2 small snow-white rabbits in his hands to signal Luo Li. Senior brother. Luo Li stared at Lu Chuan, frowned, and said softly. Lu Chuan's hair was blown by the strong wind, and there was a thick layer of snow on his shoulders. His white robe was wet from the melted snow and clung to Lu Chuan's body. Because he was running wildly in the forest, his clothes were torn open several times by the bushes, making him look a little embarrassed. Of course, Lu Chuan was fine at all. He also thought about changing clothes. They were sold in system stores and were not valuable. But if asked why he brought so many clothes, it would be difficult to explain. The system's voice sounded. It was detected that the protagonist Luo Li felt sad. Bonus points, 5,000 points. Remaining points, 14,810 points. Lu Chuan probably guessed that Luo Li couldn't bear to see the cute rabbit being eaten, so he smiled evilly. The rabbit is so cute, you must add more chili pepper. Luo Li was still feeling sorry for Lu Chuan just a second ago. After all, he was in such a mess because he was trying to find food for himself. Although he looked embarrassed, Lu Chuan's image in her heart was a bit taller. The next second she heard Lu Chuan's words, she was amused. Brother Lu Chuan, what are you talking about? It's the truth. This rabbit looks cute and is eating deliciously. After saying this, Lu Chuan was ready to walk out of the cave and kill the rabbit. Luo Li wanted to get up and help, but his body still couldn't exert any strength. He started to sweat when he moved a little, and he couldn't control his breathing and started to gasp for air. Don't move if you're weak, just leave it to me. Lu Chuan turned around and saw Luo Li trying to get up, and said slowly. Kill the rabbit, skewer it with branches and place it next to the campfire, and use your spiritual energy to control the flame to grill it. The cave was filled with a rich aroma. Although the aroma was tangy and even though Luo Li was hungry, her attention was completely focused on Lu Chuan. Watching Lu Chuan's every move and looking at his back in a daze, she always thought that Lu Chuan, who was serious about his work, was very charming. Master must have been attracted by this aspect of him. After a while, the 2 snow rabbits were roasted. The outer skin is an attractive golden color, crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. The meat of rabbit is firm and tender, and its oily luster shines with attractive colors under the firelight, which can arouse the appetite of others. Can you eat it by yourself? Lu Chuan asked as he lifted up Luo Li, who was lying down and leaned against the cave wall, holding a roasted snow rabbit. Yes. After Luo Li answered, she reached for the branch holding the rabbit. As soon as she held it, her tender hands began to tremble. The snow rabbit fell from her hands and plummeted to the ground. Fortunately, Lu Chuan took action. At the last second when it touched the ground, Lu Chuan used his spiritual energy to slow down the snow rabbit's landing and quickly picked it up. Stop being brave, I'll feed you. Okay. Luo Li stopped showing off and nodded softly. Lu Chuan sat next to Luo Li and tore off a small piece of rabbit meat with his hands. Don't you dislike me, your senior brother? Or would it be better to pierce the meat with a dagger and feed it to you? I'm extremely grateful that senior brother can treat me like this. I don't even feel the slightest bit of disdain. When the roasted rabbit meat was put into his mouth, Luo Li couldn't help but open his eyes wide and couldn't help but say, it's delicious. Luo Li was born in the Eastern Domain Xia Kingdom's royal family and was the youngest daughter. She was pampered since she was a child, and she enjoyed eating, drinking and playing at the highest level. However, the meat in her mouth was the most delicious thing she had ever eaten so far. The state banquet delicacies could not be helped at all. Compared with it, the meat grilled by brother Lu Chuan is more delicious than what the imperial chef cooks. If it tastes good, eat more. You can eat both. Seeing Luo Li's performance, Lu Chuan was not surprised. He was very good at cooking in his previous life. Moreover, when he roasted rabbits, he added the barbecue dipping sauce produced by the system, which was a bit too exciting for Luo Li, a native of the cultivation world. She bit gently, her lips opened and closed slightly with the rhythm of chewing, her delicate face was full of happy expressions, a smile hung on her lips, the corners of her eyes slightly raised, her eyes filled with satisfaction and enjoyment. Lu Chuan was sitting next to Luo Li, and the two were very close. When Lu Chuan stretched out his hand, Luo Li would come up to him with a smile. His tongue, lips, and teeth would occasionally touch Lu Chuan's fingers, which were warm and soft. On a snowy and windy night, Lu Chuan felt a little restless in the not-so-warm cave. Different from the mature and charming Lin Qingxie, different from Lu Qianqiu who is as gentle as a sister, different from the smart and playful Su Lianlian, at this moment Luo Li feels cute, pitiful and very cute to Lu Chuan. We can no longer think wildly. Luo Li is the protagonist in the original work, and there is no doubt that he is a man. I'm a serious person. In order to change his mood, Lu Chuan directly removed a rabbit leg and stuffed it into Luo Li's mouth. Luo Li was startled by the sudden rabbit leg, but he didn't want to spit it out. He choked out tears and said in a pitiful tone, "Brother, it's too big. I can't stand it. I was wrong, Luo Li, please stop talking nonsense." Realizing that the situation was even worse, Lu Chuan quickly took out the rabbit leg and a handkerchief to wipe Luo Li's tears. The rabbit's legs were covered with Luo Li's saliva, and the silver thread hung at the corner of the beauty's mouth, mixed with the fat on the rabbit's body, shining with an alluring luster. Heaving a sigh of relief, Luo Li let out a full cry of joy with his delicate voice. If it were any woman, this would be like gasping for breath. "It's okay, senior brother Lu Chuan." Luo Li saw the mandarin ducks embroidered on the handkerchief and felt doubtful in his heart. This kind of small item did not seem like a gift from his master. What is this handkerchief? Lu Chuan imagined Luo Li as the muscular man described in the original work, then calmed down and answered, "This is a gift from Lu Qianqiu." That's it. Luo Li was a little disappointed and his voice became deeper. She naturally knows who Lu Qianqiu is. She is senior brother Lu Chuan's beloved sister. Master and she get along very well. Detected that the protagonist Luo Li felt depressed. Bonus points, 6,000 points. Remaining points, 20,810 points. The sudden sound of the system made Lu Chuan a little confused. Was his behavior too rude? This doesn't work well. If you piss off junior brother Luo Li, how can you ask him to help you find a place in the inheritance? Senior brother, I was wrong. I will plead guilty to you. Don't be angry, Luo Li. I will not be angry with senior brother. Luo Li replied seriously. Then Luo Li's eyes moved slightly, and the curve of the corners of her mouth gradually rose. She had a good idea. She pretended to be angry and said, "I'm angry. I won't forgive my senior brother until he can feed me every day before leaving the ruins." Okay, whatever is fine. How long will it take for you to recover before you can move normally? While Luo Li was in coma, Lu Chuan actually bought the Supreme Grade Origin returning pill from the system store and fed it to Luo Li, but her health still did not improve and she was still very weak. Compared with half a day ago, Luo Li's mental state was much better, and her body was slowly adapting to the weak state after losing blood and essence. She made an estimate and said, "It will take another 5 days." Lu Chuan nodded to indicate that he understood, and then continued to feed Luo Li rabbit meat. The few days in the cave were generally spent like this. The only difference was that in order to take his eyes away from his cute little junior brother, Lu Chuan practiced sword practice in the cave to improve his sword intent. After seeing Bingbing's sword intent, he knew what the real supreme sword intent was like. The sword intent has reached its peak, and any spit can turn into a sword. This is what Bingbing said. I don't know whether it is true or not. But Lu Chuan still yearns for such magical skills and spends a lot of time practicing swordsmanship every day. "Brother, your sword intent is almost catching up with master. Have you given it a name?" "My sword intent's name, it's Qingxie." Detected that the protagonist Luo Li felt angry. Bonus points, 5,000 points. Remaining points, 25,810 points. Lu Chuan, can you make yourself jealous? In the Dragon Race ruins, daylight has lasted for 3 days. The wind and snow have stopped, the temperature has risen, and it is autumn. Luo Li has almost recovered, and his spiritual energy level has returned to normal, except for the occasional feeling of emptiness. The two left the cave and came to the maze, the main body of the ruins, and were exploring the maze. Luo Li stamped his feet, puffed up his cheeks, and then said in a voice full of resentment, "Brother Lu Chuan, please walk slower. I'm tired and can't keep up." Since entering the maze, Senior brother Lu Chuan has kept a distance of 3 or 4 meters from himself on the pretext of walking in front to explore the path. If she speeds up her pace, Lu Chuan will also start walking quickly. If she slows down her pace, Lu Chuan will also walk slowly and wait for her. He thought that his relationship with his senior brother would get better, but he never expected that it would turn out like this. Luo Li was very angry about this. Fortunately, I could keep my composure. Otherwise, if I had told senior brother Lu Chuan about my daughter's pregnancy too early, he might have alienated me even more. During the 7 or 8 days alone with Luo Li, Lu Chuan felt very bad. With feeding day by day, the distance is shortened day by day. The muscular hunk Luo Li in the original work finally disappeared from Lu Chuan's mind. By his side is a cute little junior brother who will look happy when he eats something delicious, who will get sulky when he teases him, and who will make him jealous when he mentions Lin Qingshe. Yesterday, Luo Li said it was too cold and insisted on sleeping next to him. As both men, Lu Chuan thought it was nothing. But after he fell asleep, he had a dream. He dreamed that he took away all the opportunities from Luo Li, and after cultivating the great Tao, when he hugged Lin Qingshe and Su Lianlian and humiliated his junior brother for being a fool, Luo Li suddenly exploded, smashed his dantian, and ruined his cultivation. Why? Actually imprisoned himself in the dungeon. In the dungeon, Luo Li said something about, "You took away everything from me," and was very angry, and then dug himself up. The picture is so real and the feeling is so real. After waking up, Lu Chuan began to consciously keep a distance from Luo Li. Hearing the voice behind him, Lu Chuan stopped and turned around, and said seriously, "Take a rest when you're tired. You haven't recovered yet. If you want to eat something, I'll catch it for you." The Dragon Race Maze is composed of countless rolling corridors. Each corridor is full of unknown dangers. Some are full of insidious hidden weapons, some contain various ferocious spirit beasts, and some are equipped with illusion traps. The things in the maze will change according to the different cultivation levels of the intruders. There is a system to hide cultivation. For Lu Chuan, the maze is much safer than the outside. Luo Li saw Lu Chuan stop and trotted to Lu Chuan. He stared at him with clear eyes and said obediently, "I will accompany senior brother Lu Chuan. You said you were tired, where did you get the strength? You will be stronger when you are with senior brother." Luo Li smiled sweetly, looking eager to try. Lu Chuan turned away. "Then you use your spiritual energy to make noise to attract the attention of the spirit beast, and I will understand them." The two came to the corridor with the spirit beast and easily killed a bull-shaped spirit beast. Lu Chuan is still the chef, and the food is roast beef, and a large part of the remaining beef is placed in the system space. The beef from the early stage of Gold Core tastes good and is full of spiritual energy. It is a great tonic. I took it back to them to try. "Brother, feed me." Luo Li sat confidently next to Lu Chuan, stretched out her head, and gently pushed the long hair that covered her face behind her ears. The snow-like hair fell from her slender fingertips, outlining her petite and lovely profile. The red lips were slightly opened, the silver teeth were exposed, and the tongue trembled slightly. She knew that the beef would definitely taste good, so she looked forward to it and raised the corners of her mouth. It's just a trivial movement, but it can make the viewer's heart flutter, as if Luo Li should be a tempting delicacy that people can't help but want to take a bite of. "The agreement I made with you is that I will feed you in the cave. We are now in a maze. Senior brother is so stingy. We are about to leave the ruins anyway, why don't you feed me for a few more days?" Lu Chuan stabbed a piece of beef with a dagger and handed it to Luo Li. "You also know that we are leaving soon, so don't complain so much. After eating, hurry up and get to the center of the maze before you can get out." Still wanting to fight for it again, Luo Li was about to speak. "If you keep talking, I won't feed you," Lu Chuan said seriously. Luo Li could only give up, took the beef, made a vicious expression on Lu Chuan and started to chew it. Lu Chuan laughed in anger, and the restlessness in his heart dissipated. "Just eat, what do you look like this? I will only do this in front of you." Luo Li stuck out his tongue and said. She used to be a royal daughter, and she was very good at external etiquette. But how can senior brother be considered an outsider? After eating, they set off on the road. The two of them were still a little apart. Lu Chuan asked Luo Li to be responsible for deciding which direction to take and where to turn. Luo Li couldn't help but ask, Senior brother Lu Chuan, are you sure you will let me make the decision? As a person favored by heaven, as a son of destiny, Luo Li's luck is absolute. No one believes in Luo Li's intuition more than Lu Chuan. It's up to you to decide. It's best to go with your first impression. But what if we encounter danger? This is a ruin that only exists in legends. It must be very sinister and full of dangers. One wrong decision may put the two of them into the myriad tribulations and they will never recover. It's really dangerous, I'll deal with it. Don't be afraid. That's it, then I'll be relieved. Luo Li's eyes revealed a cunning look. He took the opportunity to get close to Lu Chuan and took Lu Chuan's arm. It's safer this way. Lu Chuan couldn't help his eyelids twitching and twitched his mouth. Luo Li, do you really have someone you like? Yes, what's wrong? In that case, I think it's better to keep a distance. Lu Chuan gave advice. There were more than just the two of them in the ruins. If this scene was seen by someone and reached Lin Qingshui's ears, both of them would be in trouble. Lu Chuan wants to explain that he is not as good as Long Yang and that the two have a normal relationship between brothers. It is conceivable that Luo Li will be educated by his sweetheart, and even misunderstood, and there will be a gap in the master-disciple relationship between Lin Qingshui. It was impossible for Luo Li to get Lin Qingshui's love in the first place. Wouldn't it be too pitiful if he couldn't even become master and disciple? We are both men, it's normal to get along like this. Luo Li still didn't want to let go. When she is next to senior brother Lu Chuan, her heartbeat will speed up, her body will heat up, and her mood will rise. She doesn't hate this, it's similar to the feeling when you break through the realm of cultivation, and it's easy to become addicted. Let's go now. Once we get out and there is no danger, I will naturally let go of my senior brother. The two of them had a smooth journey. They walked through some corridors that were not dangerous. The only one that was a bit special was a fantasy corridor. Lu Chuan had chaos immortal physique and was directly immune to illusions. Luo Li tilted his head and leaned on Lu Chuan's shoulder and fell into coma, unable to stop smiling. Attaching spiritual energy to his hand, Lu Chuan pinched Luo Li's face, and Luo Li woke up from the illusion. Lu Chuan's clothes were soaked with saliva. Good morning, senior brother. Luo Li said awkwardly as he wiped the corners of his mouth, his cheeks a little red. The illusion corridor is already in the central circle of the ruins. It is very powerful and can make those who step into the corridor have sweet dreams and immerse themselves in the dreams they most hope to see. Luo Li's dream was that she was looking forward to cultivating the immortal gate into the Great Tao, surpassing her master and senior brother Lu Chuan in strength, and after killing Sha Guo's national master Zhang Sheng, she married her senior brother Lin Qingshui in Sha Guo. Women such as Su Lianlian, Lu Qianqiu, and Qin Chuqing also attended the wedding. They were just bridesmaids and could only look at her with envy. Oh no, there is no road ahead. We have reached the center of the maze. Be more careful, Lu Chuan responded. In front of them were two gates engraved with dragon patterns. One door had a huge keyhole, the other had nothing at all. This is exactly the same as the original work, Lu Chuan thought. The key I accidentally found in the bird's nest was just the right size. Dragon race inheritance, I'm determined. There are no keys along the way. Can we only choose the door without a keyhole? Luo Li looked at the two doors and asked doubtfully. In the original work, Luo Li did not find the key and could only open the door she mentioned with Qin Chuqing. It turns out that behind the door is a red dragon in the gold core stage. This is the final test, to kill the red dragon across levels. If there is no key, there is no fate, you can only rely on hard power to get the approval of the Dragon King. The two worked together and exhausted all their strength to destroy the red dragon. Luo Li was injured and his cultivation regressed back to the qi refining stage. No, I have the key, Lu Chuan said, taking out the golden key from the system space, which was as long and wide as an adult's forearm. This was accidentally discovered by Lu Chuan when picking fire flowers, and was used by Dapeng as a nest-building material. Luo Li compared the key with the hole in the door. The size and shape were just right, and asked, "Senior brother, where did you get this?" "I picked it up casually," Lu Chuan said deceptively. "I thought it was some kind of spirit treasure, but I didn't expect it to be a key. It seems that this dragon race relic is destined to my senior brother. After all, I encountered no danger along the way. Luo Li thought. Opening the door with the key, a golden light enveloped the two of them. Looking around, the two of them were in a gorgeously decorated hall. The calls of spirit beasts could be heard from time to time, but now there is an extraordinary silence. In the main hall, apart from Luo Li and Lu Chuan, there is only one dragon chair above the main hall. The dragon chair is several feet high, the seats are spacious and generous, and are inlaid with countless extremely rare gems. The armrests are carved with fine dragon scales and winding dragon bodies, and the pattern on the armrest is of a flying dragon. Towering and majestic, it exudes an intimidating power and luxury, like a giant dragon standing on the throne of a king. Is it possible for a human to get my inheritance? It seems that my dragon race is really in decline. At this moment, a deep voice full of majesty came from the hall, and after speaking, a dragon roar came out. Senior brother. Luo Li was a little scared, frowned, and moved closer to Lu Chuan. The two were very close. Lu Chuan stretched out his hand and rubbed Luo Li's head, soothing the nervous junior brother, then raised his head and said, "Senior, we are here to see the disciples of Immortal Gate. Entering the ruins here was purely accidental, and I have no intention of disturbing you. I wish to see Senior Haihan." On the huge dragon chair, a young woman suddenly appeared. The woman's facial features are exquisite and beautiful, almost perfect, like a finely carved work of art. He has a tall and straight figure, his skin is as white as snow, and he is wearing a yellow robe. The whole body exudes a vague pressure. The woman looked at the two people in the hall expressionlessly and asked, "Wang Immortal Gate? Is it the human sect founded by Li Luo?" As the senior said, Lu Chuan said respectfully. Lu Chuan knew that the woman in front of him was the spirit body of dragon race's ancestor. In ancient times, the human race was in extreme decline because there was no way to practice cultivation, and all monster races were strong. The ancestor of the dragon race was born, defeated all the monster races with a crushing force, and led the dragon race to become the #1 race in the world. The races that chose to surrender were taken into slavery, and those who disobeyed were directly exterminated. The weak humans cannot create value for dragon race and can only be raised as livestock, and countless people are eaten every year. Li Luo and other human pioneers couldn't stand it anymore, so they studied the mysteries of the world day and night, and finally found a way to practice. After practicing, they can defeat the monster race, which has innate advantage. Thousands of years have passed, and the world of cultivation has become filled with resentment. Heaven could not bear to see dragon race's atrocities of enslaving all races. Under the suppression of heaven's luck, Li Luo and other first batch of human cultivators suppressed the dragon race ancestor. This ruins is her mausoleum, and her body is under the dragon chair. In the original work, Luo Li was recognized by the dragon race ancestor. The dragon race ancestor gave his beast core to Luo Li to improve Luo Li's physique and practice the bone-tempering kung fu. In the novel late stage, Luo Li relied on the strong body has escaped many disasters. The woman showed a sneer, crossed her long legs, and murmured, "Li Luo was really right, the human race without any bloodline power actually rose up. The dragon race ancestor has been dead for tens of thousands of years. But the beast core is still there, and the body is still intact. More than 10,000 years after his death, he had no intention of condensing this spiritual body. Being remembered by heaven, resurrection is impossible, not even reincarnation. But the beast core will always exist, and the spirit body will not disappear. For tens of thousands of years, she could not practice or touch the physical body, and the range of her spiritual body was limited to this hall. She has been waiting for a descendant of the dragon race to break into her tomb, come to her, and take away the beast core to give herself a pleasure. Tens of thousands of years have passed, let alone the dragon race, there is not even a monster race. The first one to appear in front of him is actually the human race. It's ironic that they are still disciples of Li Luo's sect. That's all." The woman waved, and a golden shaokyu flew out from under the dragon chair, which was her beast core. She has really had enough life and doesn't want to have to worry about anything anymore. It's cheaper for the human race. "One of you two, eat it," dragon race ancestor said in a commanding tone. Lu Chuan knew that this was the dragon race ancestor's beast core, which was the supreme treasure, but Luo Li didn't know it, and his eyes kept switching between the beast core and the beauty's face. "Good stuff. Who ate it?" Dragon race ancestor knew that Luo Li was wondering, how is the human race's cultivation level calculated? The woman lowered her head to think, and gently touched her chin with her long and slender fingers. She was just thinking about small things, but it felt like she was about to make a huge decision. Mahayana, those who eat it, even if they don't practice and have no cultivation talent, will reach the Mahayana stage in 200 years. When Luo Li heard this, he opened his eyes wide, frowned slightly, and opened his mouth slightly, very surprised by this. Nascent soul, soul formation, void refining, body integration, Mahayana. You know, Eastern domain doesn't even have monks in the body integration stage. The top monks in each sect are the void refining ones. If you want to advance to the body integration realm in the void refining realm, you must go to Zhongzhou where the spiritual energy is more abundant. Mahayana is commonly known as the realm of land gods and has a lifespan of tens of thousands of years. In Zhongzhou, there are no more than 10 people in the Mahayana stage. The woman in front of her actually said that she could naturally advance to Mahayana without practicing. Luo Li's performance was what a normal person should do. Dragon race ancestor admired Luo Li's expression very much. It was much more interesting than the stunned one next to him. Since she is the enemy's disciple, she will finally take a small revenge. It should be interesting to see humans killing each other. I see that both of you are interested in this. I can't decide who to give it to, so why don't you guys have a fight? Whoever wins can get my beast core, in any way. Lu Chuan didn't expect this to happen, and was thinking about countermeasures when Luo Li's voice came out first. Luo Li cupped his fists and saluted the ancestor, and said seriously, "No need to go to so much trouble, senior, please just give it to senior brother directly." After saying that, Luo Li turned his head and mouthed to Lu Chuan, "Senior brother, just take it. I am a sword cultivator and I don't have that much pursuit of cultivation." Then she smiled at her sweetheart, her eyes curled up, her innocent and bright eyes telling her sincerity. The sweet smile was like a spring breeze blowing on his face, and Lu Chuan was stunned for a moment. The ancestor emperor who was sitting on the dragon chair looked up and laughed when he saw this scene. Ha ha ha, the human race is really interesting. The ancestor emperor knew that what the boy who spoke was doing was called humility, and it was out of the human race's special relationship bond, feeling. There is no such thing as emotion in dragon race. In those days, it was common for dragon race disciples to kill their loved ones to obtain the beast core for a stronger bloodline. Everyone lives for themselves, and other lives are only consumable items in their eyes. The last moments of the ancestor. Li Luo brought a dozen human monks to kill her. The ancestor emperor promised that those who surrendered to him would be able to divide the world equally. Who could have imagined that those human races didn't care about this at all, and just killed themselves with the help of heaven for the sake of the common people in the world? After the spirit body transformed, she occasionally recalled the scene at that time. She really didn't understand why, for the sake of the world, was more important in the hearts of the human race than gaining half of the country. She thought about it for tens of thousands of years, and finally she saw the emotions of the human race again, and she suddenly felt enlightened. She no longer struggled, so she smiled from ear to ear. The little young man in front of me humbly gave in out of respect for the tall young man. Those who risked their lives to kill themselves rose up against dragon race out of compassion for ordinary people. Okay, let me see something good. The woman's voice was sonorous and powerful. I will give the beast core to the tall boy over there. As for the short boy, I have something else for you. The remains of the ancestor dragon flew out from under the dragon chair and gradually disappeared in front of the two people. All the essence of the ancestor emperor's body condensed together and became a drop of blood essence. Open your mouth. The joy can be heard in the voice of the ancestor, but it does not lose its majesty. Luo Li and Lu Chuan did as they were told. Luo Li was fed blood essence, and Lu Chuan swallowed the beast core of the ancestor emperor. I'm relieved now. Since the two boys from the human race have inherited my inheritance, please take more care of monster race when you see them in the future. As the woman spoke, her figure gradually disappeared, leaving only Luo Li and Lu Chuan in the hall. The next second, the ground began to shake violently, and the maze in the ruins began to collapse. The righteous disciples in the ruins were all teleported out and randomly scattered in the central mountain range. Lu Chuan and Luo Li were teleported to the northeast of the mountain range, and they were 3 or 4 kilometers apart. Master Shu. A large amount of weak spiritual energy suddenly appeared in the forest. The elder of the Spirit Sword sect who was guarding outside suddenly noticed something unusual and said loudly. Other elders also spoke. Look over there, that's the disciple of Mysterious Heaven sect, that's the disciple of Luian sect. The disciples who entered the ruins were teleported out. The elders were all rushing through the forest riddled with holes. The ruins were full of dangers. For people other than Luo Li and Lu Chuan, the maze was even more dangerous. One wrong step would lead to death. Many disciples who wanted to obtain the dragon race inheritance and challenge the maze have been seriously injured. Long Lin and Sima Dong were among them. They were covered in blood and had different toxins on their bodies. Their robes were full of holes and there were some brown hairs on them, which were left behind when fighting the spirit beast. Wang Song was running wildly in the forest looking for Wang Yuan and Lu Chuan, while Shu Marong released his spiritual consciousness to find Qin Chuqing. There is a strange aura in the northeast. An elder shouted. Nangong Shi, who is good at investigation, frowned and said, the aura of the human monks is not just there. It's also mixed with the aura of the monster race. The eastern domain is the continent of the human race, monster race and dragon race live in the southern domain. Monster race appeared openly in the central mountain range managed by the human race, and the Comer was evil. The elders present rushed to the northeast to find out. Wang Song arrived first and recognized that the source of the spiritual energy was Luo Li, a disciple of Wang Immortal Gate. Fellow Taoists, please don't get excited. This child is my disciple at Immortal Gate, and cannot be monster race. Her abnormal reaction is probably because she received the inheritance from the dragon race ruins. Wang Song explained using the lion's roar kung fu. The elders relaxed a little after hearing Wang Song's speech, and then stared at Luo Li who was sitting on the ground meditating. They wanted to see what the inheritance of dragon race was. The central mountain range is a place jointly managed by all the righteous paths. Although there are legends that there are dragon race ruins in the mountains, no ruins have been found after several generations of exploration, so everyone did not take the legend seriously. They could imagine that the ruins were buried thousands of meters underground. Without the evil cultivator's explosion, the ruins would never have been discovered. After Luo Li swallowed the essence and blood of the ancestor emperor, he naturally entered a state of meditation and cultivation, unable to sense the outside world. This is the essence and blood that condenses dragon race's strongest physical body. It converges into Luo Li's body. She was taken care of by the Immortal Gate ancestor, and her spiritual energy can be circulated several times faster than that of ordinary cultivators. Now her physical strength is constantly increasing, until the limit that Luo Li could accept. Then Luo Li could feel the surging power pouring into his dantian, and the energy, blood and longevity that he had lost due to activating the teleportation formation were all replenished. The blood essence and spiritual energy are still rising sharply, and the cultivation level is also improving. Foundation building mid-stage. Foundation building late stage. The spiritual energy is still rising. Can it break through again and go directly to the gold core stage? Wang Song encouraged Luo Li in his heart. The aura stopped rising, and Luo Li was only one elixir away from the gold core stage. The 18-year-old foundation building stage is complete. The elders present were stunned on the spot, they couldn't believe what was happening in front of them. In just 10 minutes, the white-haired boy in front of him was promoted directly from the early stage of the foundation building to the late stage of the foundation building without any sign of unstable foundation. Not only that, they also noticed that Luo Li's physical body had also been improved, which was equivalent to the effect of hundreds of years of body refining. This is the dragon race legacy, so scary. The elders thought. At this moment, large swaths of clouds suddenly appeared in the originally cloudless sky, gradually forming a huge dragon-shaped vortex, as if a dragon's body was hovering in the sky. Instantly, the air was filled with strong pressure. A dragon roar appeared from the northeast. The chants were like thunderous roars, shaking the heaven and earth and shocking people's hearts. Go and see what's going on. The true dragon is coming. The elders shouted and quickly ran towards Lu Chuan's location. Luo Li woke up from her cultivation state, and there was still 1/3 of the ancestral emperor's essence and blood in her dantian. Then he looked to the northeast, smiled and murmured, "We came out safely, senior brother Lu Chuan." After swallowing the beast core, the system sounded. System task. Obtain Dragon Race Relics Inheritance. Mission reward. Dragon Race Sacred Body. The physical body can be regenerated if it is not dead, and cultivation with others can improve cultivation. Dragon Race Sacred Body is the body refining quality closest to the body of the ancestor, and it is also a legend in the world of cultivation. Legend has it that the brother of the Dragon Race ancestor fell in love with a human monk, and although the child he gave birth to was in human form, he still had the top Dragon Race bloodline, his body was strong, and his cultivation speed was even much faster than the average Dragon Race. Zhu Huang's beast core integrated very smoothly. After all, the compatibility is very good. Now, Lu Chuan is a human race, but his Dantian now carries the aura of Dragon Race. There is a strange feeling that the skin can turn into dragon scales in a moment, and that a casual breath can turn into extremely lethal dragon breath. The spiritual energy in his Dantian spurted out, like a giant dragon about to soar into the sky. Lu Chuan's whole body exuded ancient aura and supreme pressure, leading the onlookers to subconsciously want to bow their heads and surrender. A breakthrough is coming. Lu Chuan noticed that there were all elders around him and became nervous. He was a bit stuck. If he relaxes a little, he will break through the gold core stage and advance to the nascent soul stage in front of everyone. In the nascent soul stage, this is the starting point for being an immortal, and you can have a certain say in the Eastern domain. If the sect produces a nascent soul monk, it would be something to be happy about. However, Lu Chuan is only 19 years old. While others are still settling in the chi refining stage at the age of 19, if he soars to the nascent soul stage, he will definitely arouse suspicion, maybe his soul will be searched, and all his secrets will be exposed. Lu Chuan, are you okay? Wang Song saw Lu Chuan sweating profusely and looking painful, and wanted to get closer to check the situation. An elder from the Luoyan sect grabbed Wang Song and said, "Elder Wang, there is something abnormal about this kid. I suspect that he was taken away by the Dragon Race." His voice was not loud, but everyone present heard it clearly and became alert instantly. The owner of such a large mausoleum must not be an ordinary person. If it really took away Lu Chuan's body, it would take advantage of the fact that the soul has not completely merged with the body and struck first. Some radical elders took out their spiritual swords and were about to rush towards Lu Chuan. Shu Marong interrupted them, "Wait a minute. Let's check the situation again." Everyone dared not listen to what the head of Spirit Sword Sect said, and they all stared at Lu Chuan with all their heart. As long as there was something wrong with him, they would take action. "Boy, I can't tell, you were almost at the nascent soul stage at such a young age." A cold female voice came from Lu Chuan's mind, elegant yet majestic. It was the voice of Dragon Race's ancestor. "Senior, I know you are confused, and so am I. Relax, I don't have any intention of taking you away like those people outside said." There was a trace of disappointment in the beauty's voice, "But I will not disappear, I can only exist in your spiritual consciousness. Senior, can you please help me control my raging spiritual energy? I will thank you very much in the future." The ancestor emperor laughed at himself. "No need to thank me, I'm just a remnant soul. Just relax, I'll help you." Lu Chuan relaxed, and Zhu Huang helped Lu Chuan stabilize his majestic spiritual energy, and the promotion barely stopped. The aura of the gold core stage. An elder shouted. Lu Chuan was forcibly suppressed on the way to promotion, and it was normal for him to be able to sense the aura of the gold core stage, so he took advantage of the opportunity to show his early gold core cultivation. From the early stage of foundation building to the early stage of gold core, it seems that what Lu Chuan got is the real Dragon Race inheritance. What that kid Luo Li got was just a small opportunity. Wang Song thought to himself. He is very excited now, hoping that none of the Immortal Gate disciples who participated in the picking ceremony will die. Luo Li and Lu Chuan also unexpectedly received the inheritance of Dragon Race. I hope Immortal Gate's future is stable. To recast the glory of Immortal Gate, Lu Chuan is bound to do his best and must do his best to make Lu Chuan grow. Wang Song thought. Shu Marong also raised the corner of his mouth. Arranging Qingqing's marriage to Lu Chuan was so right. Lu Chuan will definitely become a powerful person and can help each other with Qingqing. The best thing Zhang Junhai has done in the past few hundred years is to take on a good apprentice. The eyes of the other elders did not move at all. They still did not dare to relax and were not sure what was going on with Lu Chuan. Lu Chuan slowly opened his eyes. His unique golden eyes of dragon race frightened everyone present. The moment he opened his eyes, endless authority and control unfolded from Lu Chuan's side. The golden pupils contained incomparable sharpness and determination, as if they could see through the soul and see everything. When his eyes glanced over, it immediately aroused trembling and fear in the people around him, making people involuntarily surrender and willingly kneel down to worship. Many elders at the nascent soul stage have already knelt down, and even some elders at the soul formation stage have bowed their heads. Even Wang Song and Shu Merong did not dare to look directly at Lu Chuan. This is the aura of dragon race's ancestor, and now it is also part of Lu Chuan's aura. The whole place was silent, no one dared to speak, no one dared to move. They all seemed to be waiting for Lu Chuan's order. Ha ha, this was Lu Chuan's voice, and the speaker was the ancestor who controlled Lu Chuan's body. Everyone present could hear the feeling that the emperor was lording over the world and looking down on everything in the world. They buried their heads lower. It had been a long time since she had experienced the feeling of ruling the world. To be honest, it wasn't bad to experience it again. In an instant, the golden color disappeared from the eyes turned back to black and white, and the pressure disappeared. Lu Chuan took back control of his body. Elder Wang, Master Shu. Lu Chuan greeted the two elders in front of him. My cultivation is unstable now. I have to go back to consolidate as soon as possible. Please help me. Wang Song said loudly. The gold core period is over, and you are worthy of it. Shu Merong also nodded in appreciation. The other elders were stunned for a long time before they dared to move. It took them a while to realize that Lu Chuan was just an ordinary gold core monk and had nothing to be afraid of. Under the escort of the righteous elders, the disciples who participated in the picking ceremony returned to their respective sects. It was not until night fell that everyone returned to watch the immortal gate. Wang Song finally told everyone, "We will talk about the specific matters later, and have a good rest first." The crowd dispersed, leaving only Lu Chuan and Luo Li saying goodbye at the gate. Brother Lu Chuan, why are you in the gold core stage? I thought I could surpass you in cultivation. Luo Li puffed up his cheeks, pretending to be angry. But the joy couldn't be hidden in his words. He was happy for Lu Chuan. Lu Chuan stretched out his hand and rubbed Luo Li's head. You want to surpass me too, go back and wash up and sleep. Master said that God rewards hard work. As long as I work harder, I will definitely surpass my senior brother. After hearing this, Lu Chuan's hand became a little stronger, and Luo Li's smooth and shiny hair was messed up. Don't touch me anymore, I always feel like senior brother is humiliating me. Luo Li said viciously, but did not avoid Lu Chuan's hand at all, but stood on tiptoes slightly. I'm trying to improve my relationship with my junior brother. What do you know? Luo Li's face felt a little hot. There was no excuse for a campfire now, so she could only turn around and run away quickly. I'm going into seclusion to consolidate my cultivation. See you next time, senior brother. The system's voice sounded, detected that the protagonist Luo Li felt ashamed. Bonus points, 6,000 points. Remaining points, 26,810 points. Sure enough, the white-haired boy is the cutest. Lu Chuan thought, summoned the ice soul sword and flew towards the central mountain range. The promotion was interrupted, and Lu Chuan always felt like he was full and exhausted. He wanted to find a safe and inaccessible place to advance to nascent soul. Arriving at the central mountain range as quickly as possible, he released his spiritual sense to confirm that there was no one within 100 miles, and Lu Chuan no longer suppressed the spiritual energy in his dantian. Looking inside the gold core, spiritual energy surges rapidly, like a river converging, and then the gold core begins to surge with infinite vitality, overflowing with brilliance. Taking a deep breath, Lu Chuan could feel the meridians throughout his body boiling like thousands of rivers, and he was wrapped in a huge force. The boundary between gold core and nascent soul begins to blur. The nascent soul in the dantian slowly takes shape, the body glows with infinite light, and the intensity of spiritual consciousness expands several times. Cultivators below the gold core stage only need to focus on the exercise of physical spiritual energy, Starting from the nascent soul stage, ordinary cultivators will recognize their own spiritual consciousness and can exercise their soul power. As long as the nascent soul in the Dantian still exists, monks at the nascent soul stage or above have the possibility of reshaping their bodies and resurrecting them. Combined with the sacred body of the ancestral dragon obtained by Lu Chuan, the physical body can regenerate after being injured. As long as he does not meet the monks at the body integration stage and above, Lu Chuan can at least survive from the enemy. As this nascent soul, came the voice of a royal sister in my mind. It was none other than the dragon race ancestor. Thank you, Senior, for your help not long ago. You're welcome. The ancestor's voice was still cold. You just need to show me some interesting things. Think of it as the rent I give you. She is quite interested in the human race now, and she has figured out the reason why the human race can rise. Lu Chuan scratched his head. Senior, I'm just an ordinary disciple, how can I do anything interesting? Oh, you are still an ordinary disciple. Rootbone is not yet 20 years old, and now you are in the nascent soul stage. The ancestor's voice finally showed some emotional fluctuations, and she snorted coldly. Among the humans who came out of the central mountain range with you just now, apart from the boy Luoli, there is only a 20-year-old girl who is in the middle stage of foundation building. The Ancestor Emperor exists in Lu Chuan's spiritual consciousness, and anyone who wants to understand the outside world can see it directly. The little girl she was talking about was Lu Chuan's fiancé, Qin Chuqing. That girl is the highest disciple of cultivation talent in the human race. You are 2 realms higher than me. It's not thanks to Senior's beast core. Lu Chuan replied with a smile. When the ancestor heard this, he felt very happy. During the thousands of years she had been the dragon race emperor, she had heard too many unintentional flatteries, and she should have been indifferent to them, but there was no loss of sincerity in Lu Chuan's voice, and he truly felt that he had helped him. Are all humans as eloquent as you? The ancestor's voice rose a little. Obviously she was happy, and then her voice returned to calmness. Boy, go 5 miles to the west, there seems to be a monster race there, you go look at the situation. Lu Chuan nodded, stepped on the spiritual sword and flew to the west. Monster race shows up and it's up to her to figure out her identity. Within the spirit sword sect, Shu Marong was the only one in the spacious conference room. She sits on a plain chair. He crossed his legs, raised his head, and looked at the high-hanging ceiling. Although not very elegant, she was very unusual today. She didn't feel lazy, and she exuded a sense of pride and solemnity. After Shu Marong came back from the central mountains, he confirmed that Qin Chuqing was fine and stayed in the conference room. She was thinking about how to solve the problem of the broken sword hilt. She is currently the one with the highest level of righteous cultivation, void refining late stage, followed by Zhang Junhai who is in retreat, void refining middle stage. It is almost impossible to go to the northern territory to snatch the broken sword hilt from the void Taoist in the body integration stage. To leave strength for defense, there are not many high-level monks who can be mobilized. Fortunately, the key requires collecting all the broken blades to unlock the seal. After the good and evil forces worked together to seal the disaster, the sword was divided into 7 pieces, 4 pieces were scattered in the eastern domain, and 3 pieces were distributed in the western demonic continent. Demon race must be notified that the handle of the broken sword was stolen, and Shu Marong was preparing to write a letter. As he continued writing, Shu Marong stopped writing. If she writes a letter, she will inevitably be ridiculed by that stinky woman who is the leader of the demon cult. Thinking about her stinky face, Shu Marong became angry. Shu Marong sighed, crumpled the letter into a ball, and murmured, "That's all." Anyway, there are still a few months left for the dragon race ceremony. By then, all the good, evil and demons will have passed. As the highest level leader of the right path, Shu Marong and the leader of the demon sect are going to support her. I will tell her then and turn around and leave without giving any advice. It's time for her jokes. Dragon race ceremony, the 2000th birthday of the contemporary Dragon King. Although dragon race has no luck in the world of cultivation and can only practice in the sea, they have a long lifespan and amazing cultivation talent. The strength accumulated from ancient times to the present is too strong. All the demons want to get the support of dragon race and become the dominant family in the world of cultivation, so they have to give face to the Dragon King. At this moment, a huge wave of spiritual energy came from the direction of the central mountain range. The majestic spiritual energy is like a rushing river, but it has no impurities and is as pure as a clear spring flowing, slowly spreading to every inch of the air. Is there someone advancing? Shu Marong stood up to check who was there. But after a moment, the spiritual energy fluctuations dissipated. She frowned and asked in confusion, is this person just promoted to the nascent soul stage from gold core? In Shu Marong's understanding, only monks above the nascent soul stage can emit such a large-scale spiritual energy fluctuation, and this person has only been promoted to the nascent soul with gold core, which is incredible. The world is so vast that there are many wonders. There are many people who are more talented than me. Shu Marong shook his head and sat down, with a smile on his lips. Anyway, Zhengdao has gained another nascent soul stage combat power. This is good thing. Many sects in the righteous path felt Lu Chuan's sudden spiritual energy fluctuations, and many people like Shu Marong were filled with emotions. They were all surprised that Lu Chuan could emit this level of spiritual energy fluctuations after breaking through the nascent soul. Such a genius would be able to transcending tribulation to the soul formation stage as long as he practiced for another 1,000 years. In fact, Lu Chuan swallowed the dragon race ancestors' beast core. Even if Lu Chuan never practices from now on, his cultivation will skyrocket and he will be able to successfully reach the Mahayana stage in 200 years. At this moment, Lu Chuan, who was flying with his sword in the central forest, sneezed. Is there a little girl thinking of you? The emperor did not dislike Lu Chuan, but she felt that Lu Chuan had a familiar feeling on him, so she gradually let go of the dragon emperor's majesty and even began to tease Lu Chuan. The sense of familiarity comes from Lu Chuan's physique, the ancestral sacred body. Lu Chuan never thought that the cold and arrogant ancestor would make such a joke with him, and he shuddered. Senior, please don't joke. I understand, it's not the little girl, it's that boy Luoli who is thinking of you. I didn't expect that the human race also. Senior, we are here 5 miles away. Where is the monster race you mentioned? Lu Chuan interrupted the ancestor's speech, jumped off the ice soul sword, and landed on the ground. This place had also been bombed by detonation formations, and the ground was full of pits. All kinds of plants died and fell to the ground, including many rare spiritual herbs. In fact, Lu Chuan felt a little guilty because he occasionally thought Luoli was cute. Everyone will have such thoughts. He just casts admiring glances at cute things, pure appreciation. He doesn't like men. It's not a monster race, it's just an ordinary spirit fox. The ancestor said slowly, I haven't seen a living creature in a long time. Do you admit your mistake? Spirit fox. Lu Chuan became nervous. There is a princess in Luoli's harem who is a monster race, and her true form is a white spirit fox. The southern territory is ruled by the monster race. The monster race is very different, with huge differences in living habits and thoughts, and has established hundreds of countries. Because of their strong bloodline and spirituality, the White Fox clan did not look down on human strategies like other monster races. Instead, they deliberately learned from it and slowly established the strongest country in the southern region, the Myriad Monsters country. The spirit fox that can attract the attention of the ancestor emperor cannot be an ordinary spirit communication beast. It was already late at night, and there was no light at all in the central mountains. Lu Chuan released his spiritual sense to look around, and sure enough, there was a fox lying not far away. After spending 1 point to buy a luminous stone from the store, Lu Chuan was able to see her clearly. It's a red fox, not white. Lu Chuan breathed a sigh of relief. She was scarred and covered in mud. She was lying on the ground to rest. When she saw a stranger suddenly appear in front of her, she stood up unsteadily, a low purring sound coming from her nose. She doesn't have any spiritual energy fluctuations on her body. It turned out to be a high-level spirit beast, but now she's just an ordinary little fox on the verge of death. The ancestor glanced at the red fox and said slowly. After all, the red fox couldn't hold on anymore, and fell to the ground after standing up for a second or two. She stared at the stranger not far away, wondering what he was going to do. Her name is Bai Jinyao, and she is the princess of the Myriad Monsters Kingdom in the Southern Territory. She is not considered a talented white fox among her siblings because her mother is an ordinary fox demon and her bloodline is not pure enough. In order to get the right to inherit the throne, she came to the eastern domain, where the legendary dragon race ancestor was buried, to try her luck. After months of searching in the central mountains with no results, and just as he was about to leave, the monster race happened to coincide with the harvest festival in the eastern domain, and there was only a dead end. She returned to her original form, used a secret method to turn her snow-white fur into red, and hid in the forest. Unexpectedly, a violent explosion suddenly occurred in the mountains. She used her spiritual energy to defend herself. In the end, her life was saved, but the beast core was also shattered. Even if she regains her aura, she will only be at the level of the human chi refining stage, and will not be able to inherit the throne. After her aura was exhausted and her beast core was shattered, she turned into an ordinary fox, looking for food in the bombed-out forest. However, the spirit beasts who survived the explosion were famous for their physical toughness. She couldn't defeat them now. Just when she was too hungry to move, Lu Chuan came in front of her. The evil way is really unkind. Lu Chuan sighed and bought a box of canned dogs from the system store for only 1 point. He opened a can, added some spiritual herbs that could heal injuries, walked up to the red fox, squatted down and touched the little fox's head. Eat it. Bai Jinyao didn't know what kind of food was in the iron box in front of her, but the aroma it exuded made the hungry Bai Jinyao start to drool. It also contained healing herbs, which was exactly what she needed. As the princess of myriad monsters, the most powerful country in monster race, she has her own pride. Bai Jinyao thinks that she cannot accept charity from others, so she pushes Lu Chuan's hand away. But the canned food is so fragrant. I'll just take a bite. The red fox stretched out her pink and delicate tongue and licked the food in the ironware. At this moment, her eyes lit up. Then she lay down on the ground and began to feast. She couldn't help but make an occasional grunt of satisfaction, as if to tell the world that the delicious food at this moment was indescribable. Foxes are also canines, so it's normal to like canned dogs. While she was concentrating on eating the canned food, Lu Chuan poured some spiritual energy into the red fox, and with the healing herbs he ate, the red fox was out of danger. Feeling Lu Chuan approaching, Bai Jinyao paused, but then a warm feeling came from her body. The man in front of her was using spiritual energy to heal her injuries. It's okay for others. After quickly finishing the can, Bai Jinyao was still a little hungry. She raised her small head, tilted her ears back slightly, and blinked her watery eyes, showing her natural cuteness. Woo! A coy voice escaped from her mouth, and then she pushed the empty can towards Lu Chuan. You're not full. You're so young, you still eat a lot. Lu Chuan saw the red fox acting coquettishly towards her, very cute, and reached out to touch her ears. This time she didn't resist. Bai Jinyao had never been treated like this by anyone. She felt that her ears were getting warm when she was touched. If he were in human form, he would definitely blush with embarrassment. The reward for acting coquettishly is a canned dog. She was so full that she felt that the food in this iron vessel was more delicious than palace delicacies. The red fox lay contentedly on the ground, its tail coiled around its side, its little head raised slightly, no longer aggressive, and its eyes gentle and stable. She occasionally let out a low purr and began to sort out the mess of hair. Seeing the red fox like this, Lu Chuan felt very comfortable. It seemed good to have a cute pet. He said to the red fox, "Do you want to go home with me?" The red fox stopped and raised his head to stare at Lu Chuan. The fox was looking at herself, very spiritually, and a somewhat human-like expression could be seen in her eyes. She was hesitating. So spiritual. The more Lu Chuan watched, the more he liked it. He began to think about giving Red Fox a good education, and maybe he could help him clean up the housework, run errands, etc. My family is quite big. There are only 2 people living in the entire mountain, and the other person is still absent all year round. I have very little control and will not restrict your freedom. I'm actually very rich. I can eat as many cans as I want, and I can eat as much as I want. Hearing this, the red fox's ears perked up slightly, and suddenly he let out a clear, ooh, sound. She ran and jumped to Lu Chuan's side, gently rubbing Lu Chuan's legs, her tail wagging slightly, and her eyes revealed a hint of mischief and coquettishness. The little fox's behavior was full of playfulness and coquettishness, which made Lu Chuan feel loving and warm. Lu Chuan couldn't help but bend down and stroke its soft fur, responding to its emotional call, "Little greedy cat." The red fox barked again, his voice resentful, as if to say, I'm not a cat. Little greedy fox. Lu Chuan picked up the red fox and stood on the ice soul sword. You are too dirty. Let me help you take a bath. There happens to be a lake nearby, and I also need to wash and change clothes. After being transported to the ruins, he had not changed his clothes. Although his spiritual energy helped him keep it clean and tidy, there were many minor damages on his clothes. It was nothing to be picked up, but after hearing what Lu Chuan said, Bai Jinyao became a little anxious. Not only do you have to take a shower, but you also have to be with this man. You don't want that kind of thing. The red fox in his arms began to struggle and howled non-stop. Lu Chuan just chuckled. When he came to the lake, he spoke, and said with some evil humor, if you move again, I will throw you directly. The water here is very ice cold, and there are monsters in the lake that specialize in eating little foxes. He's not a good guy, he's the devil. Bai Jinyao wanted to resist in her heart, but she was powerless. She was just a little fox now, how could she fight against a cultivator? Red Fox blinked her eyes with tears in her eyes. She shook her body and crawled into Lu Chuan's arms. She let out a weak sob and acted coquettishly. Lu Chuan gently stroked its fur, gently soothing its emotions, as long as you obey, I won't do that. Don't worry. Lakeside. Lu Chuan was taking off his clothes behind Bai Jinyao, while Bai Jinyao was staring at the lake. Don't you dare to go into the water. Let me wash you up. The red fox wanted to run away, but Lu Chuan was in front of her in an instant. Bai Jinyao met for the first time. Otherwise, I'll jump into the water and drown. Bai Jinyao's heart was ashen. Chapter 91. Holding the little fox in his hand, Lu Chuan walked into the lake. The red fox, still struggling and trying to escape the bath, calmed down as soon as it touched the water. In her original state, Bai Jinyao really didn't want to take a bath. She was always afraid of water. Besides, I'm not very dirty now. It was just a little muddy and had some blood on its fur. Dirty fox. Only when it is clean will it look good and I will like it. Lu Chuan concentrated his spiritual energy on his hand and began to stroke the red fox's back. Ouch! The red fox suddenly barked, with a high pitch, as if in protest. Bai Jinyao is angry. Who wants to be favored by a human like you? In her eyes, it was her charm and beautiful appearance that conquered Lu Chuan. To be honest, she should be the master, and she should be the one who doted on Lu Chuan. You have a bad temper. What's wrong with saying you're dirty? Lu Chuan smiled maliciously and relaxed his hand holding the red fox. The red fox gradually sank. If you don't let me wash it for you, just wash it yourself. The red fox suddenly burst into tears, flapped its little paws, and screamed in grievance. I'm just teasing you, Zhao Hong, you are so cute. Don't move around. I have very good skills, as several people have said. After the nascent soul stage, there are more ways to use Reiki. Lu Chuan used the spiritual energy as a brush. He gently combed every hair of the little fox, and then poured water on the red fox's back. The clear water took away the blood and dust, and the gray hair regained its luster. It's a nice red color. It's time to wash the belly. Lu Chuan turned the red fox over, belly up, lying on one of his hands. Bai Jinyao was shocked and quickly raised her tail to block her. The way she is now is not considered wearing clothes, she will be seen naked by humans. She had never experienced such humiliation. Her heartbeat accelerated and her body felt hot, making her unable to control herself. Still a female fox, Lu Chuan held the red fox's little tail with his hand, rubbed it up and down, and washed her tail. It felt good, soft and warm. Ouch! Bai Jinyao is saying goodbye. Don't be shy, I will help you bathe often in the future. For fox demons, the tail is the most sensitive part. Even if they are as close as husband and wife, they will respect each other and not touch each other's tail. But now, Bai Jinyao's whole body was not only seen by Lu Chuan, but also touched by Lu Chuan. Even now, he was playing with his tail with a lewd smile. Don't let go of every little corner. Zhao Hong, please bear with it a little longer. Lu Chuan put down his tail and washed the root of the red fox's tail. I can't get married anymore. Bai Jinyao thought, gave up her resistance, and let Lu Chuan's hands touch her body wantonly. Lu Chuan is in spiritual consciousness. Bingbing had almost eaten all the spirit swords in hand. leaving only one 8th-grade sword spirit that she couldn't bear to eat. Just as she was about to come out and ask Lu Chuan for more, she saw Lu Chuan concentrating on bathing a little fox. Bingbing thought it would be better not to disturb the master at this time, and prepared to return the Ice Soul Sword. Sword Spirit. Zhu Huang noticed that there were other thoughts in Lu Chuan's spiritual consciousness, and she instantly felt that the little girl in front of her had an extraordinary identity. Who are you? Bingbing heard a strange voice and became alert for a moment, put on an offensive stance, and released a cold sword intent. Why are you in my master's spiritual consciousness? It's still the innate divine weapon, the Ice Soul Sword. Don't be nervous, I'm just a remnant soul. I'll stay here and won't hurt your master. The ancestor came to Bingbing in an instant, and placed his slender fingers on Bingbing's forehead. Clicked on it. Bingbing cannot see the outside world in the Bingso sword, and can only perceive it in Lu Chuan's spiritual consciousness. Suddenly, the memory of the encounter between the ancestor emperor and her master appeared in Bingbing's mind. She relaxed after confirming that the ancestor emperor posed no threat to her master. The sword intent dissipated and she turned back into a cute and innocent little girl. Now you believe it. By the way, does your master have a special hobby? Bingbingzi knew what Emperor Dao ancestor was asking. The little fox in the owner's hand looked like it had been spoiled, rolling its eyes and squealing. The owner looked like he was enjoying it and couldn't stop his hands at all. No, this is just bathing the little fox. The protagonist is very picky. Bingbing remembered that when he wanted to eat his master before, he thought he was too small. What kind of guy does this human boy like? Does he like little men? The ancestor simply asked his question. Master likes you like this. Bingbing stretched out her little hand, squeezed the ancestor's valley, and then looked down at herself. You can see your toes directly. She felt a little angry inexplicably, so she used some strength on her hands, and with more strength, the shape of the valley was changed. Viewed horizontally, it looks like a ridge and a peak on the side. Sword spirits also want to drink milk. I have never given birth. I am only interested in conquering the world. How can I find a male? The ancestor tilted his head and said lightly, this human race seems to be pretty good. Wait until he arrives in 200 years. Mahayana, maybe you can be able to help me shape a physical body and fulfill my previous regrets. Her beast core has been melted, and the heavenly Tao cannot lock on the ancestor emperor. If she can collect the required spirit treasure of heaven and earth, she might be able to reshape her body and gain freedom. The world of cultivation has changed a lot in the past tens of thousands of years. She wanted to see with her own eyes how the human race rose. Hearing this, Bingbing became even more angry. I won't lose to you. After saying these words, she ran back to the Ice Soul Sword and ate the treasured 8th-grade spirit sword. She originally only had the appearance of 11 or 12 years old, but after such a long period of feeding, she finally grew up. Her hair has grown longer, and she has grown a bit taller. The huge dress that could not be held up at first can now barely hang on her body, like a 14-year-old girl from the human race. After the red fox was washed, Lu Chuan went ashore and changed into clean clothes. At this time, the voice of the ancestors sounded, by the way, there is a palace above my ruins. Although there is no spirit treasure, there should be many ancient artifacts. Go and see if you need anything. Lu Chuan had previously obtained the first half of the spiritual consciousness training method, empty soul communication, from the treasure house of Wang Immortal Gate, and the second half was in the secret room of the ruins palace. Thank you, Senior. Lu Chuan took the fox to the gate of the ruins. The door sensed the dragon race aura on Lu Chuan's body and opened it automatically. Bai Jinyao's eyes lit up as she was being protected by Lu Chuan. She felt the aura of dragon race here. This was the legendary dragon ancestor ruins, a place she had not found for so long. If she can get the inheritance from the dragon ancestor, her broken beast core may be able to reunite, her bloodline may be brought to a higher level, and she may still have hope in the battle for the throne of the kingdom of myriad monsters. But I no longer have the ability to inherit. I am just an ordinary fox with some aura. Bai Jinyao, who had been so excited and wanted to run away and take a look inside the ruins, suddenly felt disappointed. Don't be afraid. I'll get something and take you home. She felt the little fox in her arms was shaking. Lu Chuan touched her head and comforted her. Bai Jinyao could feel the warmth in Lu Chuan's hands, and could hear the comfort in his gentle tone. The loss in her heart disappeared a lot, and she snuggled into Lu Chuan's arms. He has an inexplicably familiar aura about him, which is not as annoying as other human races. His face is fair, and he is extremely handsome. He obviously treats himself well the first time he sees him, but his personality is a bit. Just be your male favorite and give him the right to please you. If there is a 1 in 10,000 chance that I can recover completely, get the inheritance here, and win the throne, it would be good to make him a noble concubine. After all, he saved my life. As for the position of the emperor's husband, it will always be vacant. I, Bai Jinyao, will not fall in love with anyone. Ouch. Bai Jinyao purred as she felt a little comfortable being touched. Lu Chuan's lips raised when he saw the red fox in his arms acting coquettishly towards him. It feels good to have a spiritual pet. We arrived at the secret room of the palace smoothly, where dozens of exercises were displayed, all of which were collected by the ancestor during his lifetime. A small part of them were handed over by others on their own initiative, and most of them were snatched by the ancestor emperor. Dragon race and monster race mostly have training methods, but there are only a few human training methods. Lu Chuan immediately found the technique he needed, the second half of empty mind, put it away and prepared to leave. Wait a minute, just take these. You can enter this ruins as you please. It's a waste to stay here. Maybe it can be used. The ancestor said slowly. Lu Chuan did as he was told, put all the skills into the storage ring, stepped on the ice soul sword and returned to his residence at Zongmen Peak. There are several luminous stones in the room, which are much brighter than outside. He had just glimpsed in the secret room a technique specially designed for the fox monster cultivator, and he might be able to practice it for Zhao Hong. This little fox is so beautiful now, and she must be even more beautiful in her transformed form. How cute is the fox-eared girl. Zhao Hong, if you transform in the future, don't forget to repay your kindness. Lu Chuan reached out and rubbed the red fox's ears and said softly. Bai Jinyao was used to being touched in her physical form, and she still had an expression of enjoyment, but when she saw Lu Chuan's malicious smile, she felt that what he said about repaying a favor was not serious. So angry. Don't use this princess to think about strange things. She was furious. Bai Jinyao stuck her head in and bit Lu Chuan's finger with her white and sharp teeth, but she immediately regretted it. Why is it harder than an iron plate? This man is not only a swordsman, but he also does body refining. After practicing the bone tempering skill to the great accomplishment, and now with the bonus of the sacred body of the ancestral dragon, a little fox cannot break Lu Chuan's defense. Fortunately, she didn't use any force, otherwise her teeth would have been damaged. No mischief. Lu Chuan punished the red fox and touched the little fox's soft and warm belly. Bai Jinyao, who had turned into an ordinary little fox, couldn't even call Lu Chuan a pervert, she could only scream in protest. I like being touched so much. People used to say that foxes are just like dogs, so let me touch their tails. Lu Chuan obviously misunderstood. While rubbing the red fox's tail, he buried his face in the little fox's belly, took a deep breath. You smell so good. Bai Jinyao does have a body fragrance, which is light like jasmine. After finishing the work, Bai Jinyao lay on Lu Chuan's lap, her eyes distracted, staring at the unfamiliar ceiling, motionless. Will this princess have to be humiliated like this every day in the future? She wanted to cry. Okay, you can go play by yourself. I have to get down to business. Lu Chuan put the little fox down, placed a few boxes of open cans in the corner, and was ready to start practicing and consolidate his cultivation. Before Bai Jinyao could recover, she was put on the ground and stared at Lu Chuan resentfully. This human man didn't know how to care about women, so he just put me aside when he had enough fun. But fortunately, you can eat all you can with cans, otherwise who would come back with you? HMPH. Bai Jinyao snorted coldly, jumped onto Lu Chuan's bed, nestled on the quilt, and began to comb the hair that Lu Chuan had messed up. Lu Chuan just smiled when he saw this and quickly entered the state of cultivation. An early summer night. Lu Chuan's room was very large. When he stopped talking, Bai Jinyao could only hear the sound of the breeze and the intermittent chirping of insects. The room was very bright, and Bai Jinyao couldn't help but raise her head and stare at the side face of Lu Chuan who was practicing. The scenes that happened in the past few hours appeared in her mind, and she felt a little hot. Suddenly it feels so cold. Bai Jinyao thought. The little fox stood up and walked slowly to Lu Chuan's side with careful steps, for fear of disturbing him. She didn't lie down until she could feel the warmth coming from Lu Chuan's body. You are just my sweetheart. Thinking about it, Bai Jinyao gradually fell into sleep. Lu Chuan woke up again, 3 days later. During this period, rumors about what happened during the Harvest Festival, including the Dragon Race ruins, were spread among the various sects. The top 3 pickers are Wang Immortal Gate Lu Chuan, Spirit Sword Sect Qin Chuqing, and Wang Immortal Gate Luo Li. The people who accidentally teleported to the Dragon Race ruins and successfully obtained the Dragon Race inheritance are Wang Immortal Gate Lu Chuan and Wang Immortal Gate Luo Li. Lu Chuan and Luo Li, who appeared repeatedly, have naturally become the new stars of the righteous path, and everyone knows it. All the disciples who participated in the picking festival survived, and there was a 19-year-old gold core early stage and an 18-year-old foundation building late stage. The seedlings of the righteous path have been saved, and there are many talented disciples with a bright future. After understanding this, the Zhengdao people who were in a downturn finally cheered up. Wang Song has been very troubled recently. The Zhengdao sects with whom they had little contact before began to visit the Immortal Gate, and the sects that got along well with each other even sent elders to exchange and learn every day. It's just because they fancy the potential of Lu Chuan and Luo Li. They believe that Immortal Gate will definitely return to its peak in the future, comparable to the current Spirit Sword sect, so they are busy making friends now. Zhang Junhai was still practicing in seclusion, and Wang Song became the acting head. Recently, he drinks the most apex-level spiritual tea every day, and some people praise him, which is very happy, but he still has various meetings to hold every day, which is exhausting, and he has to pretend to smile in front of others, which is very painful. There is something more disturbing. Many people come to Immortal Gate to ask for marriage. Lu Chuan and the head of Spirit Sword sect personally reported that Qin Chuqing was engaged, and everyone in the right way should know about it, but there are still some people who are unwilling to give up and want to marry Lu Chuan as their concubine. His daughter and Lu Chuan had made no progress at all. How could Wang Song add competitors to Wang Yuan? They all refused. More importantly, he wanted to get engaged to Luo Li. Luo Li is an orphan and has a clean background. I worked hard in the inner sect for several years, and my spirit was rare. He first showed his talents at the picking festival, and received the Dragon Race inheritance, so he naturally became popular. Wang Song has no control over this matter. But Lin Qingshe didn't know where he had gone, so he could only ask Luo Li. Elder Wang, please refuse. There is already someone in my heart, and it is impossible to fall in love with anyone else in this life. Luo Li refused with righteous words, leaving no room for negotiation. So much so that Wang Song had to make excuses every day, have to attend meetings, and reject countless marriage proposals. He was exhausted both physically and mentally. The one who couldn't sleep at night was Tang Fei. He had expected that Long Lin would gain some face for himself at the picking festival and destroy Lu Chuan. As a result, what he saw was Long Lin, who was scarred and on the verge of death. Did Lu Chuan do it? My good disciple, don't be sad. I'm going to visit Immortal Gate to get an explanation. Tang Fei was more excited than sad. Finally, I went to educate Lu Chuan openly. No, Long Lin explained with a painful look on his face. Master, I was injured in the maze of the Dragon Race ruins, and it has nothing to do with Lu Chuan. Trash. Tang Fei roared and smashed the teacup in his hand. Why can't his useless disciple even attract hatred? Long Lin was in a daze. He always felt that his master's temperament had changed drastically after he came back from watching the Immortal Gate. He was no longer the master he knew. Master, stop talking. Just take good care of yourself here. Tang Fei interrupted Long Lin. His grandson Tang Yuan was about to end his travels and return to Spirit Sword sect. What about the early days of Gold Core? His grandson was mid-Gold Core 3 years ago. What's more, unlike Long Lin, who had a crush on Qin Chuqing, Tang Yuan regarded Qin Chuqing as his own woman. After knowing that Lu Chuan and Qin Chuqing were engaged, he would definitely not be able to sit still. Plus he knew he was being killed so badly. As long as there is an opportunity to take action, Lu Chuan will definitely die miserably. 6 days have passed since Bai Jinyao was brought home by Lu Chuan. Except for the 3 days when Lu Chuan consolidated his cultivation, Bai Jinyao lived a very happy life in the rest of the days. Every day when I wake up, I have delicious canned food to eat, and I go back to sleep when I'm full. I don't have to work hard to practice anymore, and I don't have to worry about being stabbed in the back. It's very comfortable. In Bai Jinyao's eyes, Lu Chuan has been completely conquered by her. He can no longer live without himself. Now he has to hug himself to fall asleep. He will look anxious when he hides himself deliberately, and he will find other ways to play with him. For example, now, Bai Jinyao is squatting at the door of the room. The thing in her mouth is the frisbee that Lu Chuan carefully made to please her. After being a princess for so many years, Bai Jinyao has never seen anything so fun. Although it is not a spirit treasure, as long as Lu Chuan throws it out, Bai Jinyao will have the urge to pick it up from the bottom of her heart. And as soon as he picks it up, Lu Chuan will be happy, massage and comb his hair, and provide delicious snacks. What Bai Jinyao didn't notice was that after she transformed, her thoughts became closer and closer to that of an ordinary little fox. Lu Chuan was not massaging her, but he just found it interesting that Bai Jinyao looked disgusted when touching the fox, but her body was very honest, and she relaxed and purred comfortably. Ouch! Bai Jinyao couldn't wait to go out and pamper Lu Chuan, urging him to open the door quickly and go out to play frisbee with him. Sorry Zhao Hong, I don't have time to play with you today. There was no apology in his voice, but Bai Jinyao could tell that Lu Chuan was very excited now. Woo! Bai Jinyao is asking why. Why don't you play with yourself anymore? Are you tired of me? It was obviously you who wanted to bring me back, but now you want to leave me alone. After spending the past few days with Lu Chuan and being treated tenderly, Bai Jinyao gradually got used to having Lu Chuan around her, and she had begun to rely on Lu Chuan. The reason for Lu Chuan's trip was that he received a message from Lu Qiancho while practicing Empty Mind last night. The two chatted for a long time. In the end, Lu Qiancho told Lu Chuan that Lin Qingshe would return to visit Immortal Gate this morning, and Lu Chuan was going to find Lin Qingshe now. Good boy, lunch is ready for you. I'm leaving first. After Lu Chuan finished speaking, he was about to leave. The red fox ran up to Lu Chuan in an instant, gently rubbed her slender legs, made a coquettish sound, raised her small head, and her tearful eyes seemed to tell her reluctance and uneasiness. Ying ying ying. Seeing Red Fox like this, Lu Chuan couldn't help but feel pity. Also, Zhao Hong has just been brought back for a few days, and she will definitely be scared if she is left alone at home. After all, she turned out to be a spirit beast, very spiritual, and her thinking was equivalent to that of a 3 or 4-year-old human child. Zhao Hong, you really love to act coquettishly. I can't help you. You can't be as naughty outside as you are at home. Lu Chuan squatted down, rubbed the little fox's head, and said slowly. Bai Jinyao was very pleased with this. She stopped whining, jumped up, got into Lu Chuan's arms, and rubbed her face against Lu Chuan's. One person and one fox stepped onto the ice soul sword. Lu Chuan was recognized by many people along the way. They all greeted Lu Chuan respectfully, and Lu Chuan also responded with a smile, which took a lot of time. My beloved concubine seems to be very powerful in the human race. Bai Jinyao thought, feeling happy for Lu Chuan from the bottom of her heart, as if she was the one being respected. It was only 10 minutes to get there, but it took half an hour. Approaching Lin Qingshe Mountain Gate, Bai Jinyao saw 2 humans standing in the courtyard on the top of the mountain. A delicate young man with white hair was dancing with a sword, while a beautiful woman with a good face and tall figure was watching from the side. Yeah, my swordsmanship has improved a lot, not to mention my cultivation. It's much better than I was back then. Lin Qingshe praised Luo Li with a smile on his lips. Luo Li is a genius in swordsmanship. Although he is not as good as Lu Chuan, he is at least more talented than himself. She has almost realized her sword intent. Lin Qingshe thought. Thank you, master. Luo Li put away his sword, wiped the sweat from his forehead, and said seriously. It's just your white hair. Luo Li, do you have any thoughts of changing back? Yaowang Valley sells elixirs for black hair. Master, I can still afford it. Lin Qingshe said as gently as possible. He spoke for fear of hurting Luo Li. Early this morning, As soon as she returned to the mountain gate, she saw Luo Li practicing swordsmanship in the courtyard. She was surprised that her disciple's hair turned white. When Luo Li saw his master coming back, he pulled Lin Qingshe and said he wanted to show her his progress, showing off his foundation building late-stage skills, and then showed her the sword dance. Therefore, Lin Qingshe had the opportunity to speak. Master, don't worry about this. Disciple thinks this is good. Luo Li said with a smile. Recall what senior brother Lu Chuan said in the Dragon Race Ruins. Senior brother Lu Chuan likes white-haired girls, but Luo Li does not decide to change back to black hair. Lin Qingshe saw that his disciple didn't seem to be trying to be strong, so he didn't force it, as long as you like it. If you want to change back to black hair, tell me at any time, we don't need this spirit stone. At this moment, Lu Chuan's breath was noticed by the two of them. The two of them looked not far away. Lin Qingshe greeted Lu Chuan with a smile on her face. They hadn't seen each other for more than a month, and the hidden longing in her heart burst out. She wanted to hug Lu Chuan, but seeing a beautiful red fox in his arms, she could only reach to one side to hold Lu Chuan's arm. This is your new spiritual pet, so cute. Lin Qingshe stretched out her slender white hand and tried to touch the little fox. Bai Jinyao suddenly became alert when she saw Lin Qingshe approaching Lu Chuan with a look of infatuation. She had an intuition that this woman had thoughts about her beloved concubine. She stared at Lin Qingshe. Her eyes seemed to be burning with hot fire, her ears were raised, her teeth were clenched, and a low purr came from her throat. Bad Xiao Hong, don't be mean. Lu Chuan knocked on Red Fox's forehead, his voice filled with unprecedented majesty. Bai Jinyao was stunned for a moment. His beloved concubine would actually hurt him for other women, and even beat him. It's okay, the little fox is afraid of strangers. Have you bought it daily necessities? Lin Qingshe likes cute little animals very much. Not yet, I've only brought it back for a few days. Shall we go shopping together? Okay, I also want to go shopping with you. Lin Qingshe pressed closer and said with a smile. The next second, Lu Chuan handed the red fox to Luo Li, who was not far away. Luo Li, Qingshe and I went out to buy something, help me take care of Xiao Hong. Luo Li nodded helplessly. She didn't want to refuse her senior brother's request, so she had no choice but to accept the dazed red fox. Lin Qingshe took Bai Jinyao's place and leaned into Lu Chuan's arms. The two flew to the nearby market with the Ice Soul Sword. The system's voice rang in Lu Chuan's ears. Detected that the protagonist Luo Li felt lost. Bonus points, 5,000 points. Remaining points, 31,800 points. On the vast mountain gate, only a dejected fox was left. Ouch! Bai Jinyao looked at her beloved concubine hugging another woman and talking and laughing, and she was so anxious that she almost cried. Seeing the pitiful look of the little fox, Luo Li rubbed her little head and comforted her, don't be sad. Senior brother Lu Chuan will be back soon. I'll play with you. In the market built by Shanfan, various shops were lined up, busy with traffic, and very lively. Lin Qingshe and Lu Chuan were walking side by side, strolling on the street. She noticed that the aura on Lu Chuan's body was different from the past, and said, is this the gold core period? I got some opportunities. It's just good luck. You can't blindly pursue high realms. Only by strengthening and consolidating and laying a solid foundation can we be true. Lin Qingshe reminded. She was very worried that Lu Chuan would sacrifice his future to increase the speed of promotion, ruining her bright future in vain. Such things are not uncommon in the world of cultivation. After receiving Wang Song's notice, she immediately rushed back from Shengle City to see the Immortal Gate. She happened to meet Wang Song at the gate this morning. Wang Song informed Lin Qingshe about what happened in Zhengdao for more than a month. The key to sealing the disaster was stolen, unexpected harvesting festivals occurred frequently, Luo Li and Lu Chuan received the dragon race inheritance, and their cultivation level increased greatly. Luo Li went from the early stage of foundation building to the late stage of foundation building. After inspection just now, her cultivation level is very solid. As long as she takes the elixir to advance to the gold core stage, she can even advance to the gold core stage without any hindrance. Lu Chuan's was directly promoted from the early stage of foundation building to the early stage of gold core, which is a whole new level. Recalling that the two were trapped in the secret realm of Ice Soul Sword, Lu Chuan was only in the qi refining late stage at that time, but it was only 3 months ago, and now Lu Chuan is already in the early stage of gold core. That's why she had such worries. That's what Qingshe said. Lu Chuan smiled and nodded. Lin Qingshe knocked Lu Chuan on the head. When I teach you something, I am your Uncle Lin. Don't make fun faces with me. Uncle Lin is right. I will definitely pay attention to the foundation of cultivation, you don't have to worry. Lu Chuan guaranteed this. As he spoke, Lu Chuan grabbed Lin Qingshui's little hand, which was soft and smooth, like delicate silk. Lin Qingshui's cheeks turned slightly pink, and she naturally held Lu Chuan's hands tightly, as if she could convey each other's heartbeats and moods at the moment. Uncle Lin has something else to teach me. Disciple, listen carefully. Your Uncle Lin has gone back to teach Luo Li swordsmanship. Lin Qingshe has no idea of teaching anything. Her heart beats faster. She just wants to be intimate with her sweetheart. I am Qingshe. Lu Chuan couldn't help laughing. How did she say that? The woman changed her face faster than turning the page in a book. Okay, Qingshe baby. What are you talking about? There are many people watching around. Lu Chuan is very handsome in appearance, and Lin Qingshe is as beautiful as celestial immortal. They are both talented and beautiful, and they are very eye-catching. Coupled with the sweet eyes and smiles the two showed, they aroused the envy and jealousy of the people around them. Among them were many disciples who were promising immortal gait. When they saw the famous snow sword immortal talking and laughing with Lu Chuan, they were so shocked that they could not walk. Is this still the unsmiling female swordswoman who draws her sword whenever she disagrees? I just screamed, I haven't seen you for so long, I miss you so much. Lu Chuan suddenly kissed the side of Lin Qingshui's cheek, and then raised his own question, why did he suddenly look back at Immortal Gate and get tired of playing in Shengle City? Quote, with Qianzhou by my side, I won't get tired of it. Next, Lin Qingshe used spiritual energy to transmit the sound to prevent it from being listened to by interested people. I came back because I am going to the east to look for something important. Only trusted elders will receive this kind of mission. We will set off in 2 days. Lu Chuan knew that what Lin Qingshe was looking for was the broken sword blade. There is no doubt that there are undercover agents from the evil path among the righteous paths, so each righteous path can only send out completely trustworthy elders to look for clues. Lin Qingshe was sent to the area east of the Central Mountains. That area was dominated by cultivation families, and Lu Chuan's family, the Lu family, was there. That's it, then don't we have to separate again? How about I go with you? Lu Chuan said through a message. Hearing this, Lin Qingshe was very moved, but still refused. The dragon race ceremony is coming soon. I hope Immortal Gate has received the invitation. As the youngest gold core disciple of Zhengdao, you must participate. But there is no time. Run around after me. After saying that, Lin Qingshe held Lu Chuan's hand tightly and changed the topic. I'm very happy that you have such a heart. I thought you would forget about me because you were engaged to Qin Chuqing. Qingshe, this engagement was made by my master, who has been in retreat. Lu Chuan tried to explain, but was interrupted by Lin Qingshui's laughter. PFF, I don't mean to blame you. I've heard Wang Song tell you about this. If I really want to blame someone, I can only blame senior brother Zhang for making his own decisions. Okay, it's rare that we have time to go shopping together, so don't talk about this. Buy a nest for the little fox. Didn't she just be brought back? The two of them walked hand in hand on the street and helped the little fox buy some daily necessities. Time flew by and it was already noon. That restaurant over there is a chain store opened by Qianzhou Chamber of Commerce. Lin Qingshe pointed to the building in the center of the street and introduced to Lu Chuan, why don't you go in and have something to eat? I'm treating you. She always feels itchy in her heart, and just holding hands can no longer fill the missing of not seeing each other for a long time. Let's go. Since it's Qingshui's treat, I'll gladly accept it. The two entered the building, and Lin Qingshe took out the token given by Lu Qianzhou. When the waiter at the counter saw the token with Lu Qianzhou's name written on it, he was at a loss and quickly called the person in charge of the restaurant out. The person in charge was sweating profusely when he saw that the token was made of jade worth tens of thousands of spirit stones. At the Qianzhou Chamber of Commerce meeting more than half a month ago, Boss Lu specifically emphasized that she should treat guests with tokens with her name on them as she would treat the boss himself. Forgive me for being inconsiderate, two distinguished guests. The environment here is too noisy. Please invite us to the second floor. The person in charge bent down and lowered his eyebrows, and took the two of them to the luxurious private room on the second floor. What do you two want to eat? We will serve it as quickly as possible and we will definitely satisfy you. Lin Qingshe just wanted a quiet environment, so she ordered a few dishes and drove the person in charge away, then sat astride Lu Chuan's lap. Sister, I'll treat you to dinner, do you want me to take a few bites too? Before Lu Chuan could speak, she stretched out her arms and put her arms around Lu Chuan's neck, lightly opened her red lips, and kissed Lu Chuan. The soft tip of the tongue pried open Lu Chuan's teeth, finding Lu Chuan's tongue and lingering together for a long time before leaving. Unlike before, this time Lin Qingshe was very tough and Lu Chuan was passive throughout the whole process. Sure enough, Qianqiu is right. For a brother like you, I have to be strong. Lin Qingshe saw Lu Chuan's expression of enjoyment and showed a sly smile. It's still early to serve the food. Everything I ordered will take some time. Great dishes prepared. Come again a few times. What did Sister Chu teach me? Lu Chuan was in pain and happiness. Before the food was served, the two were literally just kissing. But after the dishes were served, Lin Qingshe pretended to be calm and ordered, no one will be allowed to come to the second floor before the two of them go downstairs. Afterwards, she placed restrictions in the private room to isolate the sounds inside and outside. Neither of them touched their chopsticks until the food was cold. Lin Qingshe Mountain. Bai Jinyao, who turned into an ordinary little fox, hadn't eaten anything all morning and was already hungry. She ran to Luo Li who was practicing swordplay not far away and howled a few times. Luo Li listened to the little fox's cry and actually understood what she meant. This little fox is saying that he is hungry. As expected of his senior brother's spiritual pet, he is so spiritual. I don't have anything ready to eat here. There are spiritual rabbits on the mountain. I'll catch one and bake it for you. Following what Lu Chuan did in the cave at that time, Luo Li caught two spiritual rabbits and made a fire to roast them. Putting one in front of the little fox, Luo Li tasted it himself. It tastes terrible. Luo Li has no talent for cooking. Bai Jinyao nodded in agreement. Although she disliked it, she still couldn't resist her hunger and ate up the spiritual rabbit. Most of the food she eats is converted into spiritual energy to repair the beast core. Although it would take several thousand more years of recovery for her beast core to be repaired, it was still better than doing nothing. Her beloved concubine is still with another woman. She is not willing to be an ordinary little fox for the rest of her life. I really want to eat the food cooked by senior brother Lu Chuan again. Luo Li thought, took a few bites and started practicing his sword again. It wasn't until the sky completely darkened that Lu Chuan and Lin Qingshe returned to look at the immortal gate. When Bai Jinyao and Luo Li saw the two of them, Lin Qingshe was nestling tightly in Lu Chuan's arms, looking up at Lu Chuan's side face, with happiness shining in his eyes. The two of them were no longer too lazy to hide anything in front of Luo Li. Master, I have questions about cultivation. Luo Li trotted to Lin Qingshe and said seriously, with a hint of resentment. Hey! Bai Jinyao jumped into Lu Chuan's arms, rubbed her head against Lu Chuan, and swung her tail towards Lin Qingshe. She was going to travel again in 2 days. Lin Qingshe knew that she was somewhat incompetent as a master and had neglected to teach her disciples. Luo Li is extremely talented and never neglects his cultivation. As long as he has the right guidance, he will be able to achieve great things. If you have anything to ask, feel free to ask. Lin Qingshe touched the little fox who was acting coquettishly toward him and said slowly, then I will go and help Luo Li clear up his doubts first. You go back and get some rest early. Lin Qingshe obviously misunderstood. Bai Jinyao wagging her tail was not showing kindness to her, but just wanted to drive her away. You're busy, I'll leave first. Lu Chuan approached Lin Qingshui's ear and said softly, be careful out there, I'm waiting for you at the immortal gate. Lin Qingshe nodded, a shy blush gradually spread on her fair cheeks, and a beautiful smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. Luo Li inexplicably took another bite of dog food, but he didn't know what to say, so he could only turn around and walk to the room. Master, I'll go back to the hall and wait for you. The little fox gently pushed Lu Chuan with its little paws and kept barking, as if urging Lu Chuan to leave quickly. Lin Qingshe couldn't help but laugh with the jealous look in his eyes. Zhao Hong is jealous. Lin Qingshe smiled. How could it be? She's just a little fox. Lu Chuan knew that someone else was jealous. The system's voice rang in his ears. Detected that the protagonist Luo Li was angry. Bonus points. 5,000 points. Remaining points. 36,800 points. After returning to Zongmen Peak, Lu Chuan took out the things he bought at the market and introduced them to the little fox one by one. This is the bowl you use to eat, this is the nest you use to sleep in, and this is the comb you use to comb your hair. What do you think, are they all good? Ouch, Bai Jinyao replied, her voice filled with joy and her furry tail wagging non-stop. It seems that his beloved concubine really went out to buy something for herself, so it is understandable that it took so long. I just don't know what the relationship between that woman and him is. As long as you like it. I've been picking it for a long time. Lu Chuan said, opening a bag of chicken snacks, pouring them into a bowl and handing them to the little fox, and rubbed her little head. I don't have time to play with you. Let's eat something good tonight, and I'll go to bed first. After spending a few hours sparring with Lin Qingshe in the restaurant during the day, his cultivation level improved a lot due to the ancestral dragon's sacred body, and he has now completely consolidated the early stage of nascent soul. The side effects were also very obvious. He felt very tired after finishing the work, and all his energy was used to control the spiritual energy. Otherwise, his cultivation in the nascent soul stage would be exposed. Although Qingshe is trustworthy, after being found out, people will inevitably be asked how he was promoted. It is really difficult to explain. It is still necessary to strengthen the cultivation of spiritual consciousness. After the spiritual power increases, it will be easier to control spiritual energy. After lying on the bed for a while, Lu Chuan fell asleep. Bai Jinyao finished her meal and lay down in Lu Chuan's newly bought nest. The bottom of the nest is padded with thick cotton, and the inside is covered with soft down, making it warm and comfortable. Although this bed could not compare with her bed in the country of myriad monsters, it was a gift carefully selected by her beloved concubine, so she reluctantly slept here. Half an hour passed, but Bai Jinyao couldn't fall asleep. She always felt that something was missing around her. Lu Chuan's steady breathing came from the bed not far away, as if there was magical power. The little fox got up, walked lightly to the bed, pushed aside the edge of the quilt with his little paws, slipped into the quilt lightly, and lay down next to Lu Chuan. She lay quietly on the quilt, looked at the sleeping Lu Chuan, and leaned into his arms. The little face full of spirituality reveals contentment and peace of mind. It turned out that someone was missing a warm bed. Although Bai Jinyao is the princess of the country of myriad monsters, her biological mother is just an ordinary fox monster. She is very unpopular in the monster race, which values the purity of blood and is indifferent to emotions. The other brothers and sisters were sought after by all kinds of people wherever they went, but she only had a few maids by her side. My mother is depressed every day. She has developed the habit of being independent since she was a child. She relies on herself for everything and cannot trust others. That's why she came to the Eastern Domain alone to seek opportunities to improve her bloodline in order to win the throne. Lu Chuan just treats herself as an ordinary little fox, of course she knows this. But it is undeniable that Lu Chuan is very kind to her. Bai Jinyao has gradually become obsessed with the feeling of being taken care of by him. She likes to stay with Lu Chuan. You don't have to worry about eating and drinking, you don't need to practice, just make some simple responses, and you can get Lu Chuan's sincere praise. Bai Jinyao, who was leaning in Lu Chuan's arms, sensed something was wrong. His beloved concubine smelled different from before. Just when she wanted to rub Lu Chuan's body and cover it with her own scent, she saw dark red marks on Lu Chuan's neck. Trembling, she used her little paws to pull open Lu Chuan's shirt, and there were red marks on the boy's fair collarbone. This is Lin Qingshui's hickey. Judging from the intensity, the two couldn't have just kissed. They must have done something else. After all, he was covered in that woman's scent. The little fox's body trembled slightly, tears welling up in his eyes. My beloved, get up and explain to me. Why do I have to go out to flirt with women now that I have a princess? Bai Jinyao thought, preparing to wake up Lu Chuan. But she recalled that during the day, Lu Chuan would have a happy expression on his face when he was with that woman, and she realized that she was the latecomer. She calmed down, but Bai Jinyao couldn't stand this anger. She licked all the hickeys with her tongue. Qingshe, stop making trouble, it's so itchy. Lu Chuan was talking in his sleep. Bai Jinyao was furious, but Lu Chuan hugged her tightly and she couldn't move. Face to face was so close that she could even feel Lu Chuan's breath, like a gentle touch, warm and slightly moist. I like you. Lu Chuan was still talking in his sleep. When Bai Jinyao heard this, there were endless ripples in her heartbeat accelerated, and her blood boiled. Staring at Lu Chuan's handsome face, it seemed like they were the only two people in the world. She responded and bit Lu Chuan's lip with her mouth. My concubine is no longer clean, but she doesn't mind it and can continue to use it after washing. Although the beast core is broken, it can still condense spirit gathering energy in the body, and it is not difficult to transform back into human form. Bai Jinyao believed that her appearance and figure would not be inferior to that vixen. In the middle of the night, Lin Qingshe Mountain Gate. After Lin Qingshe finished answering Luo Li's questions, he returned to his room to meditate. After coming out of the restaurant, she kept feeling distended in her belly. It wasn't pain, but warmth. Looking inside her dantian, she was pleasantly surprised to find that she had somehow broken through the bottleneck period that had troubled her for many years. The reason why it feels strange is because the spiritual energy in the dantian surges, not because of Yushi. After practicing for a while, I was successfully promoted to the nascent soul late stage. I feel more confident about my upcoming trip to the east. Each righteous sect gradually sent out trusted elders to various parts of the eastern domain to find the whereabouts of the broken sword blade. In order to prevent interested people from inquiring about the news, no one from each sect was allowed to see him off. On the last night before saying goodbye, Lu Chuan took the little fox to Lin Qingshui's mountain gate and proposed to cook dinner for everyone to celebrate Lin Qingshui's safe return in advance. Luo Li, who has the lowest cultivation level here, doesn't need to eat, but life always needs some small happiness. Lu Chuan showed his superb cooking skills and cooked a large table full of dishes, all delicious and delicious. Luo Li and Lin Qingshe were full of praise for Lu Chuan's cooking skills. Bai Jinyao also put down her guard against Lin Qingshe and was very happy to be fed. After finishing the meal and clearing the table, it was completely dark. Lin Qingshe drank some wine for the first time, and her cheeks turned red. She felt happy from the bottom of her heart. Half a year ago, this place was very deserted, but now it is so lively. I used to be unable to speak a few words in a year, but now I am talking and laughing with everyone. This is all because of Lu Chuan. After washing the dishes, Lu Chuan picked up the little fox and prepared to go back to Zongmen Peak. Qingshe, be careful on the road. I'm going back first. Wait a minute. Lin Qingshe stretched out her long and slender hand to hold Lu Chuan. It's so late, so don't go back. Lin Qingshe lowered her eyes shyly, biting her red lips slightly, her eyes flashing with shyness. This is to invite Lu Chuan to stay overnight in front of his disciples. Seeing Lin Qingshe like this, Lu Chuan swallowed, nodded with a smile, and handed the little fox to Luo Li to take care of. The little fox kept barking, with a hint of crying in his voice. The system's voice sounded, detected that the protagonist Luo Li felt jealous. Bonus points, 5,000 points. Remaining points, 48,000 points. Under Luo Li's angry gaze, Lin Qingshe pulled Lu Chuan back to the room. Lu Chuan didn't wake up until noon the next day. Luo Li rarely proposed a competition, and Lu Chuan bullied his cute junior brother for the first time in a long time. Unfortunately, the system did not give points this time. Returning to Zongmen Peak, Lu Chuan began to recall the plot in the original work and prepare for the next action. Nothing will happen to Lin Qingshe when he goes to the east, and he will find a sword blade smoothly. Luo Li's next opportunity will be at the Dragon Race ceremony 3 months later. Dragon Race Ceremony, the birthday of the Dragon King. Eastern Domain Zhengdao, Demon Dao from Western Continent, and Monster Race from Nanzhou will all come to support them. One part of it is discussion. The newborns of the Dragon Race compete with outstanding representatives of various races. The winner can receive generous rewards from the Dragon Race, and Luo Li gets a lot of benefits. Nowadays, improving the intensity of spiritual consciousness is the primary goal. To practice empty spiritual mind, you must at least get started. Empty mind has been refined to the great accomplishment and can kill people with thoughts. The entry level can use spiritual consciousness to interfere with other people's thinking and can be used in many places. Lu Chuan practiced continuously for an afternoon and an evening, which was the limit of his current mental strength. When Bai Jinyao saw Lu Chuan open his eyes, she immediately got up and came to his side. She had developed the habit of sticking to Lu Chuan. "Zhao Hong, you are so good." Lu Chuan picked up the cute little fox and rubbed her belly. This little fox never disturbs him when he is practicing. He is really spiritual, Lu Chuan thought. At this moment, there was a knock on the door, and a deep voice came, "Boy Lu Chuan, are you here?" The person who came was none other than Wang Song. Lu Chuan opened the door, cupped his fists and saluted, "Elder Wang. It's me. I'm here to bring you the elixir." Wang Song took out a small box from the storage ring. The outer surface of the box was inlaid with precious spiritual jade, and the exquisite and delicate patterns were carved on it, showing its magnificence and nobility. Wang Song thrust the box into Lu Chuan's hand, the elixir that can perfectly advance to the gold core. The masters of the Medicine King Valley worked together for more than 10 days to refine one. It's worth more than 30,000 spirit stones. You keep it. Quote. He knew that Lu Chuan had advanced to gold core, so he mentioned the market price and wanted Lu Chuan to pay attention to it and keep it well. Lu Chuan opened the small box and wanted to see the quality of the elixir that the masters of alchemy had concocted over 10 days. The strong fragrance of red pepper spread instantly. Bai Jinyao smelled the fragrance and leaned over to see what was so fragrant. The elixir is crystal clear and sparkles under the sunlight, as if it contains the essence of heaven and earth, indicating that it is of high quality and has pure medicinal power. If you look closely at its surface, it has the pill pattern. For a moment, the little fox's eyes widened. As the princess of myriad monsters, the strongest country in the monster race in Nanzhou, she naturally knows how much the pill with the pill pattern is worth. Her beloved concubine is really not short of money. Lu Chuan glanced at the elixir lightly, feeling a little disappointed. The pill pattern on the elixir is only a few hints, and the effect of the medicine is not fully exerted. Lu Chuan could refine a pill of this level while teasing Xiao Hong. He thought how perfect the alchemy masters could make it together. It seemed that his level of alchemy was considered to be at the top level in the world of cultivation. Their level is not good. Why, are you not satisfied with this? Wang Song saw Lu Chuan's lack of interest and became angry for a moment. Boy Lu Chuan, you are a genius in swordsmanship and a genius in enlightenment, but you don't understand pills. Putting the elixir randomly in the corner of the storage ring, Lu Chuan smiled apologetically. What Elder Wang said is that I don't understand. I will definitely cherish it. HMPH, I told you that you still don't believe it. Wang Song snorted. The dragon race ceremony will be in 3 months. Are you willing to go to the Dragon Palace as a representative of Immortal Gate? After hearing the keyword, Lu Chuan cheered up and said seriously, as a member of the Immortal Gate team, the sect needs me to go, and I will not say no. Well said. Wang Song admired Lu Chuan's courage and praised him. He is worthy of being the direct disciple of the head senior brother. It will definitely be a lot of benefits to go. Dragon race is not lucky now, but it has strong financial resources and has many spirit weapon treasures accumulated from ancient times. You can prepare some gifts and give them to the old Dragon King when the time comes. Dragon race will definitely return the money hundreds of times. Wang Song added with a malicious smile. So many people went to congratulate the Dragon King, so it was certainly not in vain. Gifts are given in return that far exceed their value, which is why the disciples are rushing to attend the ceremony. Lu Chuan responded, Thank you, Elder Wang, for your guidance. He had gotten so many dragon race training techniques in the ruins before, so he could just find a copy and give it away. After explaining everything, Wang Song left Zongmin Peak and went to Lin Qingshe Mountain Gate to deliver pills to Luo Li. The reward for second place in the picking festival is high-grade elixir. Although it is not as good as the one with the pill pattern in Lu Chuan's hand, it is also made by a master and is of excellent quality. As long as the user's foundation is not too bad, he can advance. Luo Li took the elixir with both hands, and then carefully placed it in the storage ring, moving gently for fear of breaking the elixir. Wang Song couldn't help but sigh in his heart. This is right. It seems that Luo Li knows more about elixirs than that kid Lu Chuan. Luo Li, do you have any idea of going to the Dragon Race ceremony? The Dragon King's birthday banquet in the South China Sea. The disciples, cultivation is shallow and I'm afraid they won't be qualified. Luo Li knew that there would be a competition in the ceremony, where Dragon Race would compete with people from the human race and monster race. The winner will get the Dragon Race reward, while the loser will lose face and will be secretly criticized by all races. Don't be modest, Luo Li, you don't know the rules. Let me explain the rules of the competition to you. Wang Song began to explain the rules of the competition in detail. Disciples who want to participate in the ceremony are required to be under 200 years old and have any level of cultivation. Disciples who want to go on stage to compete with the young dragon must not be older than the young dragon. It should be noted that it takes at least 50 years from the time an ordinary dragon egg is laid until the dragon hatches. Under the guidance of the dragon race bloodline, the young dragon will subconsciously practice in the egg. Most of the young dragons have the chi refining stage of the human race as soon as they hatch out of their shells, and those with the blood of the Dragon King even have the foundation building stage from birth. In the days after breaking out of the shell, even if the young dragon stops practicing, his cultivation level will gradually increase. Dragon Race selects young dragons to participate in the battle. Most of them are under 150 years old, but their cultivation level is equivalent to the gold core stage of the human race. The human race does not have the advantage of innate bloodline, and it all relies on acquired cultivation. Most people who practice cultivation until they are 100 years old can only reach the foundation building late stage. The gold core stage faced off against the foundation building stage, and the result was predictable. Dragon Race won 9 out of 10 games. In order to save some face for other races, Dragon Race will arrange older young dragons with impure blood to fight at the end, deliberately losing several times. The purpose of arranging competitions at the ceremony, Dragon Race's own statement is, to create opportunities for friendly exchanges between outstanding young disciples of all races. Everyone knew in their hearts that the competition was just to increase the confidence of the young dragon. However, all forces are peeping at Dragon Race's power and want to get Dragon Race's support, and Dragon Race is so rich that they will give away the innate spirit treasure whenever they want, and the return gift at the ceremony will be at least 7th grade. If you don't go, you won't go. Luo Li, do you understand? The Dragon Race is very generous. Not only will you get a lot of benefits by going, but if you win, you can bring honor to the Immortal Gate and the Eastern Domain. If you lose, don't worry. You are only 18 years old. That's it. After Luo Li understood the specific situation, he nodded and asked subconsciously, will senior brother Lu Chuan go? Wang Song replied, young man Lu Chuan. Of course he will go, he is our card for Immortal Gate. Okay, Elder Wang, I will definitely prepare well and not embarrass senior brother Lu Chuan. Luo Li agreed, his eyes seemed to be shining brightly, and he could go out to play with senior brother Lu Chuan again. Although Wang Song was a little confused as to why Luo Li would say that he would not embarrass Lu Chuan, but seeing Luo Li's eagerness and enthusiasm, he still encouraged him with a smile, I'm optimistic about you. If nothing happens, I'll leave first. Quote. A moment ago, Lu Chuan, who was practicing life-extending pill in his room, sneezed. Ouch. Bai Jinyao, who was napping in Lu Chuan's arms, heard the movement and called out in a daze. It's okay, Zhao Hong, just keep sleeping. Lu Chuan gently rubbed the little fox's head and comforted her. The little fox stretched and turned over, facing Lu Chuan's belly, and wrapped its 2 furry paws around Lu Chuan's waist, as if to hug Lu Chuan. It was very comfortable. She purred slightly and rubbed Lu Chuan's belly. I really love acting like a spoiled child. Lu Chuan did not stop, comforting the little fox and refining the elixir at the same time. Lu Chuan's alchemy technique is already at the top level in the world of cultivation, and he is familiar with the fire control of alchemy and the ratio of spiritual herbs. When refining most elixirs, he didn't need to concentrate all his attention, he could distract himself and play fox. After Wang Song left, Lu Chuan felt itchy in his hands and wanted to make some elixirs by himself. The alchemy skills of those masters in Yaowang Valley are really not as good as mine. Anyway, there is no shortage of materials on hand. The spiritual herbs that were originally going to be handed over to the undercover cult at the picking ceremony are now in Lu Chuan's system space. There are about tens of thousands of them, ranging from common spirit communication grass to rare spiritual herbs needed in the nascent soul stage. There is grass. There are still more than 2 months before leaving for the South China Sea. There is not much going on during this period. It is just time to refine youth retaining pill and life extending pill and send them to Lu Qianzhou. Last time I visited the Immortal Gate treasure house, I picked out a necklace-style defense spirit treasure and gave it to her. In the alchemy furnace, the spiritual grass is tempered by the flame transformed by the spiritual energy, and the essence ingredients are retained and gradually merged into a round elixir, and the pill pattern gradually takes shape on its surface. After a while, the first pot of elixirs was refined, 8 life-extending pills with pill pattern. The ordinary life-extending pill can only extend life for 10 years, but the pill pattern doubles the effect and can extend life for 20 years. I'm still better at it. Lu Chuan admired the real pill pattern and then bottled the elixir. The little fox whined, which was a response to Lu Chuan's voice. Seeing the lazy and comfortable look of the little fox, Lu Chuan also felt relieved. Xiao Hong, open your mouth and give you something good to eat. Lu Chuan fed the little fox 5 life-extending pills. Bai Jinyao didn't hesitate at all, she didn't even open her eyes and opened her mouth. My beloved concubine will not harm herself. He said he likes me. And from this point of view, he made alchemy for himself. There is sweetness in Bai Jinyao's mouth, and it is even sweeter in her heart. After swallowing the elixir, she felt that there was some extremely pure spiritual energy in the broken beast core. Looking closely, Bai Jinyao found that she had an extra 100 years of life. Is A Fei feeding herself a life-extending pill? The little fox opened his eyes suddenly and saw Lu Chuan putting the remaining 3 pills into the pill bottles, all with profound pill patterns on them. She had seen the elixir album, and the one in A Fei's hand was the life-extending pill. Its elixir recipe has been lost for thousands of years, and there are no more than 10 pills left in the world. For monks who are stuck in a bottleneck period and find it difficult to break through, and the end is approaching, they may be able to find opportunities to break through if they live a few more years. Therefore, the life-extending pill became a priceless treasure in the world of cultivation, and everyone fought for it. The alchemist who created the pill formula could not see this, and burned the pill formula. From then on, no one could make a life-extending pill. Can A Fei be refined, or does Apex Level have a life-extending pill with pill pattern? Lu Chuan saw the little fox staring at him with a little surprise and confusion in his eyes. He reached out and rubbed her little ears. Does it taste bad? I'm sorry, Zhao Hong. In fact, I improved it and added a little more. Sweet spiritual herb. Improve it a bit and give you a few more to try later. When Bai Jinyao heard this, she didn't know how to react. After Lu Chuan improved the pill recipe, could he still make a life-extending pill with pill pattern? The little fox gave up thinking. She was just an ordinary little fox anyway. Besides, he is his beloved concubine, and he is great because he is great. This princess is really capable of conquering such a powerful concubine. Bai Jinyao stood up and licked Lu Chuan's lips with her tongue. Lu Chuan tasted the sweet taste of life-extending pill. You little fox, this tastes pretty good. Why are you so demanding? You don't think of yourself as a princess anymore. Lu Chuan just held the little fox's body steady and did not stop him. He helps Zhao Hong bathe and brush her teeth every day, keeping her clean. Dogs lick their owners' faces to show affection and respect, and so do foxes. Lu Chuan liked this little spiritual fox very much, and the little fox finally opened his heart to him. It makes up for the regret of not having a pet in the previous life. It tastes good, try more of it. If she were in human form now, Bai Jinyao would definitely blush with embarrassment. Not long ago, with the help of the essence and blood of the ancestor emperor, Luo Li's cultivation reached foundation building perfection. She has been settling down since she returned to Immortal Gate, and now she is only one chance away from a breakthrough. Elder Wang Song just sent the elixir to advance to Gold Core. Luo Li originally wanted to take it directly, but he remembered what his master often said, lay a good foundation. So she consolidated for a few more days, and when there was no room for improvement, she swallowed the pill and successfully advanced to the gold core stage. A small golden ball appeared in the dantian, faintly exuding a majestic meaning, which was formed by the condensation of spiritual energy. As a cultivator, breaking through the realm is something to be happy about. But the master had important things to do and had already traveled. There was no one around Luoli to share this joy. The loss only lasted for a moment, and Luoli remembered that senior brother Lu Chuan was still looking into the immortal gate. Just use the name of the competition to show off your gold core level of cultivation, surprise him, and then let him praise you. On the way to Zongmin Peak, Luoli had already begun to imagine what Lu Chuan would do. Senior brother would probably first criticize himself for being impatient and how he could be complacent because of such trivial things, then he would secretly praise himself for his hard work and talent. Unfortunately, Luoli did not get to see Lu Chuan as he wished. When she arrived at the door of Lu Chuan's room, the door was ajar, and the screams of the little fox and the sound of things collapsing came from the room, mixed with a few nice female voices. "You're a little fox, what else can you do? Do you think you can escape from my grasp? That idiot had the heart to leave you alone at home and let your mother take good care of you. A cute little fox like you was born to be eaten by your mother." In the room, Bai Jinyao was running away desperately. Its little tail was tightened, its body was trembling, and its hair was standing on end. It was obvious that its hair was exploding. She screamed, trying to scare off Su Lianlian who was chasing her. Bai Jinyao woke up very early today. She wanted to pretend to be asleep and lie on Lu Chuan's bed for a while. She leaned closer to Lu Chuan, but felt something was wrong. Why is her beloved concubine so soft today? He stretched out his little paw and pressed on the abnormal part of A Fei's body. "Ah," the person next to me made a soft and charming voice, "Stop pressing it, it's so itchy." The little fox became alert, opened his eyes, and confirmed that the person next to him was not Lu Chuan. "Good morning, little fox. It's our first time meeting you. I'm your mother," Su Lianlian said in a soft tone. Since she is Lu Chuan's spiritual pet, it makes sense to call her mother. The morning sun shone warmly, illuminating Su Lianlian's bright smile. She lay in Lu Chuan's usual sleeping position, staring at Bai Jinyao. "Your father went out to find a wild woman, leaving our poor mother and daughter to depend on each other. Come and let mom hug you." Bai Jinyao didn't know who the good-looking woman in front of her was, but she had a vague feeling that the dad this woman was referring to was Lu Chuan. The fact that she called herself mom meant that she and her beloved concubine. When she thought of this, Bai Jinyao lost all sleep, stood up, and grinned at Su Lianlian. "There is no scent of Lu Chuan in the room, he should go out. Don't be afraid, I will be good to you." Su Lianlian knew that spiritual pets have certain intelligence and are afraid of strangers, so she did not suggest it. Instead, she reached out to the little fox and wanted to pick her up. How could Bai Jinyao let the little fool who appeared out of nowhere succeed and dodge easily? "Do you want to play catch with me? Mom, I will accompany you to the end." No one would know anyway. Su Lianlian put down her disguise, and the cold and inexperienced fairy turned back into a quirky little witch. She ran, she chased. Laughter and laughter filled every corner of the room. Su Lianlian's perspective. Just last night, after more than 2 months of breakthrough, Su Lianlian advanced to the foundation building stage. After entering the state of cultivation, she was unaware of the passage of time in the outside world, but after Su Lianlian woke up, she still felt itchy in her heart, eager to see someone and make him happy for her. After a brief report to her master, Su Lianlian put on loose and easy to take off clothes and came to the head peak. No one saw it, but there was a small piece of paper left on the table, with a few elegant words written on it. It hadn't been completely dried yet, so it was clearly written recently. It read, "I, Lu Chuan, went to Shangle City to handle some matters. If you have any questions for me, please come back tomorrow." Seeing the 3 words Shangle City, Su Lianlian knew what Lu Chuan was going to do. Lu Qianqiu, the big boss of Qianqiu Chamber of Commerce, lives in Shangle City. She is Lu Chuan's little lover. Su Lianlian's original good mood was mostly ruined, and she decided to torture him again when he came back. She lay down on Lu Chuan's bed angrily and found a beautiful red fox sleeping soundly not far away. The little fox curled up and its slow breathing showed that it was immersed in a sweet dream. There is a bit of a human expression, there seems to be a smile on the little face, and the tail is wagging gently, as if responding to the happy scenes in the dream. Is this a spiritual pet raised by an idiot? So cute, Su Lianlian thought. After seeing the happy look of the little fox, Su Lianlian felt a lot healed and her mood calmed down. Scanning the room, there were indeed more small bowls than before, and there was a fox's nest in the corner. Soon after, Su Lianlian fell asleep. When I woke up, it was already slightly light. Anyway, there was nothing important. Su Lianlian wanted to spend the day playing with this cute little fox. Back in time, Luo Li felt that the female voice was somewhat familiar, but he couldn't remember who it was, but the little fox's cry seemed to be for help. Luo Li opened the door and strode into the room. Finding someone, Su Lianlian's smile faded in an instant. She stopped and looked at the person. Junior brother Luo Li, senior sister Su, what are you doing here, and why are you bullying Zhao Hong? Luo Li knew where this sense of familiarity came from. After all, Su Lianlian was a good sister who shared her adversity. Seeing Luo Li's arrival, the little fox seemed to have seen a savior. She hurriedly hid behind Luo Li and kept moaning. The little fox screamed in grievance, and Luo Li couldn't bear it. He knelt down and rubbed her head. Don't be afraid, Zhao Hong. She is not a bad person. Senior brother Lu Chuan also knows her. Bai Jinyao was complaining to Luo Li that the strange woman was spying on her concubine and plotting against her. This princess is not afraid. Bai Jinyao wanted Luo Li to understand what she meant, and her voice became a little more urgent. Unfortunately, it was difficult for humans and foxes to communicate, so Luo Li only received a gentler pat on the head. Taking advantage of this period of time, Su Lianlian had already thought of a reasonable excuse. Junior brother Luo Li. I was entrusted by Lu Chuan to take care of the little fox. He went to Shangle City for something and will not be back until tomorrow at the earliest. After saying that, Su Lianlian walked to the hall and showed Luo Li the paper with Lu Chuan's handwriting. Luo Li scanned the piece of paper and saw that it was indeed written by senior brother Lu Chuan. It seems that the senior brother went to find Lu Qianzhou and asked Su Lianlian to help take care of Zhao Hong for a day. In this case, it can explain why senior sister Su wears pajamas. Luo Li glanced at Su Lianlian. I have to admit that Su Lianlian is indeed beautiful. She was wearing loose blue pajamas. The light fabric accentuates her slender figure, with most of her attractive collarbone exposed, and her fair and slender neck slightly reflecting in the morning sun. Thinking about it this way, she came to Zongmin Peak last night and slept with the little fox at night. Su Lianlian learned the name of the little fox from Luo Li's mouth. Judging from Luo Li's expression, she obviously believed it. She added, I'm not bullying Zhao Hong. She didn't want to eat well, so I wanted to catch her and feed her. Luo Li knew that he had wrongly blamed Su Lianlian, so he stood up and apologized seriously. Sister Su, I misunderstood. Please don't take offense. Su Lianlian waved her hand. It's okay. You are also worried about Zhao Hong. Seeing the two of them like this, Bai Jinyao on the side thought to herself, Su Lianlian is obviously talking nonsense. How come you, an innocent little junior brother, believe it? The little fox looked at Luo Li resentfully and barked at Su Lianlian twice. No murder is allowed. Luo Li flicked the little fox's head. The little fox had a bad attitude towards her master. It was not strange for Su Lianlian. Senior sister Su just wants you to eat well. Senior brother Lu Chuan specially commissioned she is here to take care of you. Senior brother will definitely be unhappy if he knows you are like this. Bai Jinyao froze on the spot, tears welling up in her eyes. It was too difficult to be a little fox. Zhao Hong, get along well with senior sister Su. I'm going back first. Luo Li then said goodbye to Su Lianlian and flew back to Lin Qingshe Mountain Gate. The more she thought about it, the more angry she became. She was not angry about Lu Chuan going to Lu Qianzhou, but why her senior brother didn't go to her to help take care of Zhao Hong. Head peak. Su Lianlian closed the door and made sure no one was around. She smiled again and stretched out her claws towards the little fox. This time, Bai Jinyao gave up her struggle. Let Su Lianlian pick her up and rub her ears and chin. Su Lianlian was about to touch the little fox's fluffy tail, but was bitten by the little fox. The tail is absolutely not allowed, this is Bai Jinyao's bottom line. The only one who can touch his tail is his concubine, and no one else can even think about it. Bai Jinyao thought. Seeing the little fox's eyes turn red, Su Lianlian knew that she had gone too far. Okay, mom is wrong. Xiao Hong, do you want to eat? Mom will get it for you. Bai Jinyao was put down and watched Su Lianlian go to the kitchen to find the cans left by Lu Chuan, and began to pray for the early return of her beloved concubine. The other side, Lu Chuan arrived at Shengle City shortly after the sun rose. Since no one was around, Lu Chuan simply stopped suppressing his cultivation and flew with his sword using the aura of the nascent soul stage. After a few hours, he arrived at Shengle City. The foundation building stage monks have to walk for a day, but the nascent soul stage only takes 3 or 4 hours. Walking in Shengle City, the streets are lined with various breakfast stalls, and the tempting aroma is wafting. Wisps of smoke from fireworks filled the air, intertwined with the noisy hawking sounds of vendors, creating a very early morning atmosphere. Lu Qianzhou should have already gone to work in the Chamber of Commerce at this time. Lu Chuan didn't know if Lu Qianzhou had breakfast, so he simply bought some, enough for 2 people. She once said that she wanted to have breakfast together. Lu Chuan then asked the vendor owner the location of the Qianzhou Chamber of Commerce. According to the boss's description, he walked all the way to the city center and saw Qianzhou Chamber of Commerce written on a 3-story building. After entering, there is a magnificent hall, with landscape paintings dotted on the walls and hanging lamps made of luminous stones above the head, which is extraordinary. It had just dawned, and dozens of people had gathered in the hall, making it very noisy. These were people who wanted to cooperate with the Qianzhou Chamber of Commerce. Qianzhou Chamber of Commerce is already the top chamber of commerce in Wu State. Lu Chuan tried his best to get to the 3rd floor without attracting attention. The 3rd floor was Lu Qianzhou's office area. Just when Lu Chuan was about to open the door and enter, a young female voice came. Who are you? Why are you here on the 3rd floor? Don't you know this is the big boss's office area? Her name is Yi Man, and she is Lu Qianzhou's travel diary. In the words of Blue Star, he is a secretary. She is responsible for handling trivial matters within the Chamber of Commerce and helping Lu Qianzhou convey instructions. Of course I know, I'm here to see your big boss. Lu Chuan looked at the young woman and replied. He didn't stop and the door opened. The curtains were drawn, and in the dim room, Lu Qianzhou was sleeping on the table. Her black hair fell like a waterfall, covering her face. Her eyelashes trembled slightly. The only discord on her beautiful face was the dark circles under her eyes. Yi Man became angry when he saw Lu Chuan's shameless face. He strode to Lu Chuan, took his arm and said, "Don't disturb the boss's rest. She just fell asleep. Come out." The voice was small but full of anger. As a cultivator, how could Lu Chuan be attracted by an ordinary little girl? But he just saw dark circles under Lu Qianzhou's eyes, and with the little girl's words, he sensed that Lu Qianzhou might be in trouble. Yi Man didn't stop until he was pulled to the 2nd floor. Lu Chuan looked at Yi Man and said, "What happened to the Chamber of Commerce? What trouble can happen to the Qianzhou Chamber of Commerce? Don't talk nonsense." Yi Man was already furious. The man first broke into the 3rd floor without authorization, and then asked about the Chamber of Commerce. He really regarded himself as the boss of the Chamber of Commerce, right? By the way, you are who? If you don't explain clearly, I'll call someone to drag you out. Little girl, please calm down. I am your boss's husband. Qianzhou must have a reason for staying up late. Just tell me the truth. Lu Chuan said slowly. He had also heard Lu Qianzhou say that this little girl has first-rate business ability. If you can't control your emotions well, you can easily say the wrong thing. Hearing Lu Chuan's words, Yi Man laughed angrily. "Haha. You really know how to be kind to me, even Qianzhou called me. Get out of here." Yi Man knows that his boss has always rejected young talents from all walks of life. Not long ago, a stunning beauty appeared and stayed with the boss for more than a month. Although the two acted like sisters, Yi Man is a smart person. She had already guessed that her boss didn't like men, but after Lin Qingshe appeared, she was even more sure. The relationship between Lu Qianzhou and her subordinates only stayed at the work level. She had never told anyone about Lu Chuan. "I know you are in a hurry, but don't be in a hurry yet. Look at what this is." Lu Chuan took out the token with Lu Qianzhou's name from the storage ring, which was given to him by Lin Qingxie. When Yi Man saw the token, he froze on the spot, looked at Lu Chuan's face, and then moved his eyes to the token. There are only 2 tokens in the world. The boss dragged her to create them. Each token is worth tens of thousands of spirit stones. It was obviously to give it away, but under Yi Man's persistence, Lu Qianzhou finally spoke up and said that it was for someone important to her. Yi Man thought at the time that the token was a token of love between Lin Qingxie and Lu Qianzhou. How could he have imagined that the token was held by a man? The anger in her heart disappeared, and now there was only doubt and confusion. Is it possible that this man is really the boss's husband? Yi Man frowned and thought. Do you believe it? Lu Chuan looked at Yi Man's doubtful expression and said with a smile, I am your boss's husband, and what's hers is mine. Rounding it off, you have to listen to me. Hurry up. Tell me why Qianzhou stayed up late and what went wrong with the Chamber of Commerce. I don't know. Yi Man couldn't relax. After all, what she had always believed in was shattered. She frowned and replied, since you have this token, it should be okay to tell you about the Chamber of Commerce. Come with me. Quote. Yi Man took Lu Chuan to an empty room on the 2nd floor. Sit down. Let me tell you. The Wu Kingdom's national birthday festival is just a few days away. The surrounding countries have sent ambassadors, and the secular nobles have also come to celebrate. Even some small cultivation families have come to join in the fun. Shangle City is the most prosperous city in Wu State and the city closest to the country's gate. All kinds of guests will rest here. Each Chamber of Commerce sees the opportunity and prepared to take advantage of the large number of outsiders to improve their reputation, so they held auctions in these 2 days and showed some rare spirit weapons, elixirs, and spiritual herbs to the guests. Qianzhou Chamber of Commerce is no exception. Lu Qianzhou made preparations early to hold the auction tomorrow morning. I thought I was sure of winning, and Qianzhou Chamber of Commerce would attract the most attention, paving the way for future development in other countries. Unexpectedly, the Xingsheng Chamber of Commerce next door suddenly announced yesterday that their auction had 3 pills each of Origin Returning Pill, Qi Condensation Pill, and Heavenly Origin Pill with pill pattern for sale. The selected date was the same as Qianzhou Chamber of Commerce. This is too attractive to monks with low cultivation level. There are many Qi refining stage monks as guests. It is conceivable that most people will be attracted to Xingsheng Chamber of Commerce for tomorrow's auction. This is a naked attack. The Xingsheng Chamber of Commerce could have announced the information earlier and chosen a different time, but they did not. After Lu Qianzhou learned the information, she couldn't hold back her breath. She kept contacting local chambers of commerce in other countries to see if they could provide any support. The message she got was, "Boss, we only have money on hand. If you want ordinary elixirs, that's fine. But if you want superior elixirs, we won't be able to get them for a while." Lu Qianzhou was very depressed about this. She didn't go home last night and was thinking of countermeasures in the office. That's it, Qianzhou Chamber of Commerce can either come up with the supreme grade elixir, or it can come up with the rare spirit treasure. Otherwise, it can only watch Xingsheng Chamber of Commerce make a lot of money. The boss has done something for this auction. A lot of preparation. It must be very difficult for her. As Yi Man spoke, his mood became depressed, and his voice lost the vitality it had at the beginning. After understanding the situation, Lu Chuan felt a little guilty. The pills that he asked Su Lianlian to help him sell before were Origin Returning Pill, Qi Condensation Pill, and Heavenly Origin Pill, and there was also Pill Pattern, which other alchemists could not refine except Lu Chuan. Spend a lot of energy to refine these basic elixirs. Xingsheng Chamber of Commerce probably purchased the elixir from Su Lianlian. Seeing Lu Chuan's brows furrowed, as if he was feeling the pain, Yi Man generally believed that this handsome young man had a close relationship with his boss, you know now. Do you have a solution to solve this problem for your imaginary wife? Quote. What do you mean by fantasy? You little girl really can't speak. Lu Chuan stood up and knocked Yi Man on the head, then took out a few bottles of elixirs from the storage ring and placed them on the table. This is the solution. It's not good to go outside and talk about Xingsheng Chamber of Commerce, but Qianzhou Chamber of Commerce is better. Lu Chuan took out 8 youth retaining pills, 30 pills for each of the 3 basic pills. Life-extending pill should not be sold publicly as it can easily cause a sensation. Youth retaining pill is tempting enough for those who desire eternal life but cannot practice cultivation. It hurts, it hurts. You actually said that pills with pill pattern are not good, but you will be cursed by the alchemist who refined those pills. Let me see what level of pills you took out. Yi Man shouted, covering his head. Then she grabbed a bottle of elixir, opened it and poured out 2 pills. Having been in business for so long, she can recognize the most popular elixirs in the market. Yi Man exclaimed, Qi condensation pill with pill pattern. Know the goods. Lu Chuan praised the little girl for her discernment. She ignored her surprise and quickly checked the other pills on the table, 3 basic recovery pills, 30 pills each, and 8 unknown pills. All of them have pill pattern. All of them are supreme grade pills. Medicine. Lu Chuan said calmly. Those 8 pills are youth retaining pills. Youth retaining pill. Is it the one that can keep you young forever? Yi Man's heart was pounding. Master, are you willing to sell these pills to Qianzhou Chamber of Commerce? The price is easy to talk about. She knew that if Qianzhou Chamber of Commerce had this knowledge and let the news out, then the Sheng Chamber of Commerce would have nothing to do with the auction tomorrow, and even princely families would come to snatch the youth retaining pill. The Qianzhou Chamber of Commerce will soar into the sky, and while its reputation is spreading, its sales will be several times the original price. I've already told you, your boss is my wife, and this is free of charge. Lu Chuan said slowly. These are of no use to Lu Chuan. The youth retaining pill is useless after taking 1 pill. Lu Chuan keeps 1 pill with him and will give another one to Lu Qianzhou later. As for the recovery elixir, you can get one for 10 points in the system store, which is of high quality and low price. Yi Man stared at Lu Chuan's face, and his eyes seemed to be shining. I believe it now. The young master and our boss are really talented and beautiful, a match made in heaven. She couldn't help but raise the corners of her mouth, her voice rose a little, and her voice was full of joy. The value of these elixirs is over 800,000 spirit stones, and if sold at auction, they can sell for 1 million spirit stones. Lu Qianzhou has been kind to Yi Man and has always valued her and trained her. After getting along with her for such a long time, she has already regarded herself as a member of the Qianzhou Chamber of Commerce. Moreover, the Chamber of Commerce earned millions of spirit stones in vain, and Yi Man could not imagine how much his bonus would be. Then go and do your work. I'll go to Qianzhou's side and wait for her to get up. After saying that, Lu Chuan stood up and was about to leave. Yi Man stopped him again. Sir, I still don't know your name. Don't tell the rude little girl. Then I'll call you Mr. Boss. Yi Man curled his lips. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.